Hello everyone, this is Bad R Boy, and we are back playing Suzerain, the Nasserist Run. Now, last time we've entered a fucking debt crisis, and I just said, balls to the wall, I'm just gonna keep spending on welfare. I'm just gonna embrace it. What's gonna happen? Like all that's left is for the oligarchs to fuck off with their money, but that's not gonna happen because I got the anti corruption police. Yeah. Now, that being said, that being said, I also want to start the stream by saying tomorrow the Pope is coming over to Lebanon. So that's gonna be a cool thing that happens, I guess. And hopefully the visit would be good for the country. A new chapter of coexistence among the different communities of Lebanon. I'm already hearing positive things, and the Shiite Muslims are gonna be welcoming the Pope with very open arms and open hearts, including Hezbollah. Actually, that was very interesting to hear about, and it's nice to hear the Maronite Church's position that Hezbollah is a Lebanese party and its martyrs are Lebanese instead of this whole hocus pocus that they are just Iranians and therefore should die or be relocated or like you'd be surprised. But like personally, because of my faith, uh, well, like a few years ago, back in high school, I was told to go back to Iran. Like, bitch, my ancestors were probably here longer than your ancestors. So shut the fuck up. Whatever, whatever. That being said, that being said, let's continue the game. Okay. Hopefully the mic quality is not bad or too loud, too low. Probably too loud. Hey, you guys can hear me. Yay. So, where were we last time? Children are the future. Ah, yeah, I invested in the future of children. Discussion of the current internal affairs. Let's go and see. A storm was on the horizon outside my window. The inside of my office, however, was very warm and cozy. I straightened myself on the sofa next to the fireplace and looked at Mansoon, who was sitting on the couch across from me. He was here representing all 8 bloodish members of the assembly. He had dark creases under his eyes from lack of sleep. And just to say it again, whenever this guy speaks, I imagine he has the voice of Bernie Sanders. As I said earlier, we've been working on this bill for a long time, Mr. President. I always done my best to represent my people, only to keep getting blocked in the assembly. We can't have the same happen again. I've always brought my people's concerns to the assembly and raised my voice whenever our rights were in question. All we ask is that the assembly at least have a proper discussion. But all that we get is disrespect. MPs shouting racial slurs at us, not allowing us to speak, and it's not only the National Front. He stopped for a moment and repositioned himself on his seat. I don't even remember a time when Mrs. Story allowed me to finish a speech. The Assembly does not take us independent seriously. And you, Mr. President, have approved anti-bloodish policy. Well, fuck you. The only thing that I have approved was a language bill because it made sense. Main teaching should be in Swedish language, while schools with a Bloodish population are allowed to teach Bloodish as a language. I am not taking away your language. I am just making it easier for everyone to understand each other in this country because every big country with multiple people needs a lingua franca or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, I dead ass tried to give your ass autonomy. It's not my problem the fucking assembly is racist. I try, and I try, and I try. But hey, I cannot blame you. We're the one getting beaten by racist mobs. I know or want to believe that you only did this to appease your base. I am here to ask you to reconsider your stance. We can make a difference in Solon together. I don't believe I've done anything against the Bloodish people. You did not protect Ishval Erzan and allow the court to appoint a fascist as the governor of Persia. Bitch! It is out of my hands. What do you want me to be, a fucking dictator? Do you want me to be a dictator? Well, because it's long past that, my friend. It's long past that. I reformed the fucking constitution. I can't even get half of the decrees I want through the assembly. Okay? I reformed this country to be more democratic, and if the people are racist, it's not my fucking problem. It's the problem of the game itself. Are you aware of the actions of the governor? How he's oppressing our people? That he's doing is in our villages? You targeted our language and banned it in school. I did not ban your language, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. What are these laws if not an attempt at cultural genocide? It is time to undo these mistakes, Mr. President. And when I took that decision about the language bill, I explained it. I explained my decision, I explained the context, I gave Iraq and Mauritania as examples. You do not get to say I'm a fucking racist or trying to do some cultural genocide. I did ask. I did ask went to that ceremony and then hugged you, man. We hugged. We shared the hug in front of roaring crowds. Whatever. You're right, Mr. Lecky. I'm not proud of my decisions. What are you asking me to do? Talk to your fellow USP members and put your support behind our bill. Our proposal will give amnesty to those who were falsely arrested for having ties with the Democratic Plus Freedom Party, and it will form a commission for minority rights. Fuck it, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'm with you. Thank you, Mr. President. He rose and walked up to me and extended a hand. This means a lot. Thank you. We shook hands. Suddenly, we heard a knock at the door, and Lucian entered. Sir. Yeah, I'm not a racist. I don't even have to say I'm not a racist to be not racist, you know. I tried my best to help the rights of the Bloodish people in this game, in this run, but at every turn the game fucking throws a curveball at me. Oh, I removed the very fucking racist ethnic governor of the region, ethnically cleansing it. Well, fuck me, it happens that the second in line to take his position was an even worse racist ethnically cleansing asshole. I did not know that. See? That's the game throwing a curveball. I worked my ass off to make a, a bill that would turn the region into an autonomous region with its own government so that it can support the minority rights. But then the game says, oh, sorry, this cannot pass before your constitutional reforms, which limit your ability to pass decrees. Like fuck me, man. Like, as they say, no good deed goes unpunished, but like, fuck you. Genuinely, fuck you, game. I'm trying to be a good man here. I'm trying to support minorities. But the game is shit. I'm sorry, I thought your meeting was over. Mr. President has already decided. We can call it over. Mr. Galadi, I was already leaving. Great, then we must go to the meeting room, sir. One of our new campaign advisors has some plans for the election. He's waiting for us. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna get my ass re-elected, hopefully, with 28 billion in budget deficit and my growth going down. Let's go. Hear the report. Rumberg plane warned inside airspace. A lone Rumbergian warplane violated our airspace by entering the territory of Solnan for 2 minutes and left after issuing a radio message. Fuck. Swordfish corporations bemoan Women's Liberation Act. Yeah, fuck you, women are gonna be liberated. What happened to the video from Nasser to Nasrallah? Well, the video was sadly taken down. I've attempted to re-upload it, however, unfortunately, it was taken down within 2 minutes. Whenever I try to appeal these decisions, they get rejected within 10 minutes. I haven't tried to re-upload it again. I am worried that this might cause eventually YouTube to strike my channel, and we do not wish for that to happen. Um, yeah, it's gone. Sadly, it's gone. Now, I've been thinking about ways to upload it then archive it, but it doesn't seem to be possible at this moment. And I'm rather wary of uploading it on alternative video sharing sites because of some of the risks these pose. Uh, I'm very upset by that decision. It was very upsetting to me. Uh, Never mind that it gave the channel a lot of traction. It was a work of passion. It was a work of passion, like a spur of the moment thing, and I worked hard on it for a few days so I can release it on time. And it's disheartening that it was taken down. I do not believe. I do not believe it warranted it. I do not believe it was a glorification of violent criminal organizations. However, I think it's an issue with the YouTube moderation. I believe it's not people anymore doing the moderation; it's AI, and AI is shitty. AI is shitty when it comes to moderating things. So sadly, it will be it's not on the channel anymore, and won't be on the channel for a while. But what can we do? I'll try and figure something out in the future. But for now, I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, tell me. Well, where can I re-upload it? How can I share it again? Because I've tried. I don't know. I'll figure something out. Rich and standard rates Sorland D minus. Okay, whatever. Historic moment for Polish women as Liberation Act signed. Arcadia's dual approach to refugees. I don't want to read. Wagner blockades Hellland. Okay, good, cool, whatever. Blockade of Helluland. Helluland is currently under complete blockade by the Volkslandian Navy. This blockade is believed to be part of the Chancellor Helga's decision to send troops to seize control of the island. The conflict was triggered by the violent protests that took place. Alright, the blockade has caused significant disruption in trade and commerce in the region, impacting not only Helluland, but also neighboring countries. Okay, whatever. What's up with Agnolia? Agnolia is not a friendly country to me, but we have a trade agreement. So that's cool. Back to wholesale alcohol tax. The Grand National Assembly introduces the Alcohol Tax Act as a dual measure to curb excessive alcohol consumption and boost tax revenues. Section 1 of the ATA mandates a 20% tax on all alcohol products sold within the country. This measure serves not only as a deterrent to excessive alcohol consumption by raising the cost of alcoholic beverages, but also establishes a consistent source of government revenue. Section 2 of the ATA promotes domestic industry by making local alcohol production destined for export exempt from the aforementioned taxation. This provision seeks to bolster the competitiveness of local producers in the international market while maintaining the aim of reducing domestic alcohol consumption. Applies a 25% tax on foreign alcohol products imported from countries that do not currently have any trade regulations imposed on alcohol-related goods. Policy aims to level the playing field for domestic producers and increase the overall tax revenue. Fuck it, let's sign it. Less people drinking is a net positive. And alcohol consumption has been reduced. This is great. I love that the welfare page in my situation is all green except this yellow one. But like in a few years it'll turn to green. While my economy is fucked. My economy is fucked. Oh well. Fair Luxury Tax Act. In an endeavor to enhance the equity of the taxation system and augment tax revenues, the Grand National Assembly introduces the Fair Luxury Tax Act. This act proposes an amendment to Section 6 of the Tax Code of 49. Section 1 determines a 50% tax on luxury goods as categorized by the Ministry of Economy. Definition of luxury goods under this act includes, but is not limited to, jewelry, furs, sports cars, yachts, and private planes. The implementation of this tax is intended to ensure that those with the means to purchase such items contribute proportionally to the state's revenue. Section 2 of the FLTA established a 10% estate tax applicable in situations of purchase, sale, and property transfer, particularly in cases of inheritance. This measure seeks to promote fairness in the tax system, ensuring that significant wealth transfers contribute appropriately to the state's revenue, while also deterring a large-scale wealth accumulation through inheritance. Yeah, fuck yeah. If you are rich enough to buy a yacht, you are rich enough to you are rich enough to share the wealth. Luxury is now taxable. Yeah, I need to figure a way to get out of this minus 25%. Maybe get back to minus 19 just to get the growth ticking up again. Emergency call on an escalating situation. Oh shit. I was woken up in the middle of the night by a call from the Ministry of Defense. Due to the sensitivity of the information, I had to be urgently briefed in person. I put on my clothes as fast as I could. I rushed downstairs and opened the door. Serge was waiting for me. Mr. President, this way to the car, please. We got into the car and made our way to the Ministry of Defense building without a word. I arrived and was directed downstairs. I came to a set of large doors and quickly read the sign above them. Excuse me. A sign read War Room. The dimly lit room was filled with cutting-edge equipment, the latest video screens, long-range radio electronics, and other devices used for communication, presentation, and planning. The centerpiece of the room was a large round table with the coat of arms of Sorlin engraved on it. David, Lucian, Vulcan, and Iosef were already deep in discussion. Mr. Lancia, I advised caution. Going to war wouldn't help anyone. We must maintain peace in Solent and Eastern Mercopa at all costs. What do you expect us to do? Sit around and do nothing? They are testing us. We must respond immediately, otherwise they will think we are weak. Status report, now! Mr. President, thank you for coming in at this late hour. There is a situation. Vulcan, please go ahead and provide your report. Mr. President, approximately 20 minutes ago, Rumburg downed one of our planes with anti-aircraft fire from the ground. The pilot was declared KIA. The last recorded position of the plane was inside Swedish airspace. General Kruger, I mean no offense, but are we absolutely sure that is the case? Are you sure this happened within our borders? No offense taken. Here are the locations on the map and the report from the airbase. He pointed to several markers on the map. To answer your question is yes. We are absolutely sure. You can see here on the map that the plane was downed approximately 10 kilometers inside our borders. We have calculated the trajectory of the gunfire and they started firing when our plane was... Oh, fuck. Excuse me. Was within our border. The plane was down near Holgen. We need to be cautious. A war with the Rumburg is the last thing we want right now. I completely agree. It looks like they are trying to lure us into their trap. And as I said before, if we are playing as Nasserist Egypt, hypothetically, then Rumburg here is Israel. And what is Israel currently doing in Lebanon? It's trying to bait Lebanon into another war by bombing shit. It looks like they are trying to lure us into their trap. We have enough military power to contest against this violation of international law. We should attack and down one of their planes in retaliation. Otherwise, we will look weak and it will lead to more casualties. We can't look weak. If we appear weak, they will jump on the opportunity. We must order a military retaliation immediately. I agree with the general. Mr. President, our army is ready to do whatever it takes to protect Sorland. Gentlemen, before it comes to that point, we can prevent further bloodshed by using diplomacy. The room fell silent before Yosef finally spoke up. Mr. President, what are your orders? We approach this diplomatically and try to de-escalate the situation by any means. No one wants war. Especially when we do not have the military capabilities. Like look at our military. Look at our Like our national security has been breached. It does. We do not. We do not know how much information the fucking Umbergs didn't have on us. We have. We have an. We have an alarming threat from a terrorist insurgency, and where's the? Here's the military, and we have we have only an adequately equipped military. We have a large service pool, but we also have a small military. And while we do have Vogsland as our ally, Vogsland is busy with their own invasion of Helliland. We did not ally with Wellen, and we did not fund the military. So without Wellen, without Vogsland, without Bergia under control, and without our military actually prepared for a war, going for a war is fucking suicide. And Nasser, in real life, despite Israel trying to bait him numerous times to a war, he was trying to be cautious. He was trying to avoid war at all costs. He was trying to build up his country. And he knew eventually there will be a face-off against Israel. However, if we are to face off, we need to do it on our own terms. Jumping the gun never helped. So, like, let's take a step down. Let's take a step down, step back, and think about this. And we will approach this diplomatically and try to de-escalate the situation by any means. No one wants war. Lucian stands up, shoulders relaxed. Thank you, sir. I will immediately begin working on it. With Mr. Whiskey's capabilities, I am sure that we will de-escalate the situation successfully. We will keep you updated on our progress. Besides, we got information on Ramberg's expansionism, information on Ramberg backing terrorists, information on Ramberg developing nuclear fucking weapons, and now this violation of our sovereignty. Hmm? We got to plead our case in front of the United Nations. And unlike real life where the United Nations is bullshit, in this game it means something. And plus, I actually did look up how to win a war with Ramberg, and retaliating is not in our best interests. We will keep you updated on our progress. We should retaliate it. I hope the diplomatic response makes sure that further incidents like this are prevented. If there's a next time, I'm afraid that it will be war. We are showing weakness. Of course, it will be a war the next time around. I'm frankly disappointed, Mr. President. If we can't even retaliate after such an attack, what will become of this country in the future? Peace must be maintained at all costs. I am saying this as a man who has seen too many years of war. We are not the ones that are attacking the peace. Regardless, it looks like your decision has been made, Mr. President. I know when I am not needed. I will take my leave. Before he left the room, he saluted. Well, now that we know the way forward, I have an idea, Mr. President. I think we should hold a military parade to display our strength. I am with Mr. Lastea on this one. This should work well as a deterrent, and it will come in handy as a tool to de-escalate the situation. That is a good idea. Simple and effective without causing any ruckus. That makes sense to organize the military parade, even though the military parade is gonna be a disaster. Understood. That is all, Mr. President. I will keep you updated on the situation. For now, have a good night's sleep. You will need it. I couldn't sleep at all that night. I mean, who the fuck can? Search plane shut down. Urgent meeting on potential alliances. I was sitting right across from David in the White Room after he scheduled an urgent meeting. I knew that the matter must have been serious. He insisted on waiting for Yosef and Lucian, so we did. Lucian entered the room with Yosef by his side. Mr. President, we came as fast as we could. Mr. President, Mr. Whiskey, what's going on? David cleared his throat. Welcome, everyone. Due to the potential ramifications, I wanted everyone to be present for this meeting. We have received an envoy from the United Kontana, which is the Soviet Union. I'm just reminding people. They are requesting a state visit. Judging from the current climate, it's not hard to see what this is about. CSP is always trying to expand its influence. After all, they will most likely try to convince us to join. In addition, as part of the state visit, Maleniev will, of course, meet with you in person, Mr. President. There is something we could gain from this state visit. And and I need to be very careful with my fucking words because if Iosif believes I'm a communist, he's gonna cool the fuck out of me. With all due respect, are you out of your mind, Mr. Lancea? I will let him continue. I did not say anything. This is madness. We cannot even consider accepting this. I bet he would come asking for us for cooperation under the guise of informing like demands to join CSP. This will antagonize half the world against us, and we are going to be at the forefront of the battle. If you are approaching this from the perspective of national defense, then don't. We are in a better shape than we are ever before. I assure you, we don't need any outside help, definitely not from Maleniev. We will make do somehow. Let's see what he wants first. I will decide when I talk to him. We need to be careful. Mr. Whiskey, we rely a lot on you as you are an expert in your field with a proven track record. What's your take on this? What do you think is the right action? World tension is increasing rapidly, Mr. President, and I am worried about the future. One misstep and the whole world might be engulfed in chaos. I am afraid it might not be possible to stay neutral in this case. Our geopolitical position is simply too important. Soon we will have to take a side. If we don't pick a side, we may end up right in the middle of a potential conflict. I am of the opinion that this is an opportunity that we can't miss. It all boils down to your decision. But I say we should at least listen to what Maleniev has to say. Lucian, what do you think? We heard our experts. You are the one who has to decide, sir. I don't want to involve ourselves with superpowers. Decline that. Very well, accept their offer for a state visit. For a state visit, I'm not going to join any fucking alliances. I'm going to the Nasserist line on this one. I will send our response immediately. Then there is a tiny detail we need to get over with it. How should we welcome their delegation, sir? A military welcome is in order. They need to see our might. Hmm. Well, historically, Nasser and the Soviet Union had a good relationship. Let's go with military. A military welcome is in order. They need to see our might. Because, of course, Nasser had also had some of the upper hand in his relation with the Soviet Union. After 1967, when the Six-Day War ended and the War of Attrition began, Nasser was facing a problem with trying to organize his forces along the canal. The Israelis kept bombing inner Egypt, which prevented Nasser from diverting his defenses to the front lines. And the Soviet Union was not moving its ass, so Nasser went on a secret visit to Moscow, and he told Brezhnev, "You either send me what I need, or I'm going to resign, give my seat to a colleague who is more friendly with the United States, and then he'll figure something out with them." The very next day, Brezhnev prepared an expeditionary force of pilots and planes to go and protect inner Egypt from Israeli bombardment. So now, let's go with this. As you wish, I have taken a note. I think that is all for today. Thank you for attending. As we dispersed, the world map hanging on the wall in the room caught my attention. I walked over to it. How often were the lines on the world map drawn over the recent decades? What about the future? Norway is concerned over Rumberg posturing. Amid escalating tensions in the region, Welland's President Viktor Smolak has issued a statement raising concerns about Rumberg's aggressive maneuvers, expressing unease over Rumberg's clandestine support for the Blood Freedom Front. Smolak warns Swordland to stay vigilant. This warning comes on the heels of a recent aerial engagement between Swordland and Rumberg, further inflaming the already volatile atmosphere. And in terms of welfare, we have an increase of depression. Honestly, increase of depression among the population. Like fuck it, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Like we gotta live how we can live. I don't know, man. I understand this as a human being who went through a very traumatizing few years, including the war last year, and I don't know, shit happens, man. What can I tell you? Limited security powers. The limitation of our police forces have unfortunately led to a higher rate of tragic crimes, but we are making efforts to improve the situation. Some suspected individuals who do not meet security criteria have been apprehended, which was contributed to decrease crime nationwide. Oh, what's this? Suicide rates. Holy shit! Holy shit! Okay. The latest information from the city of Valgan displays a worrying increase in reported suicide. The suicide rate in the city seems to have tripled compared to the previous 4 years. Increased rates of depression were also observed among the local populace. Holy fucking shit. Okay, I need to take a moment. What the fuck just happened? What the fuck just happened? Okay. I'm just gonna do the state visit of Chairman Maleniev. The door of the pitch black sedan opened and flashes went off. The famous ideologue and CSP leader Leon Maleniev came out of the car, smiling and waving at the enormous crowd that gathered. It was not every day the chairman of United Contana came to visit Sorla. He was wearing his usual political uniform, grayish green trousers and a simple tunic from a soft turned down collar. A maroon carpet stretched from the vehicle out to the palace, lined with soldier troops. Warplanes flew over our heads, painting the sky in the colors of the short soldier flag. As soon as Maleniev stepped on the carpet, all of the soldiers performed a hard salute. Celebratory gunshots were fired, trumpets started playing a soldier's march. Monica and I walked over to meet him in the middle. Finally, I was within reach of one of the most powerful men in the world. We looked at each other and shook hands. It is really good to see you, Chairman Maleniev. You are very kind, Mr. Rain. He turned to Monica and shook her hand. It's nice to meet you, Mrs. Rain. Likewise, Chairman Maleniev. Welcome to Sorla. On the way to the entrance, we stopped in front of General Vulcan, who was in charge of the troops. Maleniev smiled and saluted Vulcan and the soldiers. They saluted back. As soon as our inspection finished, we entered the palace. And by the way, it's good we didn't go with an extravaganza because he's a fucking communist, so he's not gonna like that. I don't think your army needs to put on such airs in the midst of a burgeoning global conflict. War is not show business. Oh, fuck you. He looked at me with an expressionless face. As I was trying to formulate a response, he placed his hand on my shoulder and laughed. I laughed. I tried to laugh with him. It was a joke, I guess. We started walking towards the reception hall in the palace. Our path was cleared of people at once. He looked at the extraordinary interior design of the Maroon Palace, statues, paintings, and the various ornaments filled both sides of the corridor. What a palace! He pointed at one of the statues in the corner as we walked in. As we walked, it was a white marble sculpted representation of Albert Renan, the founder of the Renan aristocracy. Okay. Okay, so basically he was a man of the people within his class. Okay. Was was he the original owner of the Maroon Palace? His name is Albert Renan, Chairman Maleniev. And yes, he was. Oh, yes, Renan. I thought when Tarkin Soul came to power, he worked towards removing the Republic's connection to its feudal past. This is interesting that he removed the images of the last kings, but not the older figures. Is he fond of the aristocracy or the man? I know he despised the kingdom, but I think he still needed a glorious past to make people proud. That's where Renan came in. That's what I suspected. If it was not going to be the kingdom he despised so much, it made sense to look further back. He just left in the parts he liked. Isn't it fascinating how a single person can alter history just like that? At that moment, we came to the end of the corridor and entered the reception hall. Upon our entry, a crowd started clapping. It was composed of various politicians and state figures. Thai martinis were handed to both of us. Everyone, let's give a warm welcome to our guest of honor. People started clapping. With another thunderous round of applause, the Companion band started playing. Melania and I started talking to the other guests. The reception was in full swing. After some time chatting with the attendees, Melania turned to me. Can we go someplace where we can hear each other better? He and I swapped our drinks for glasses of Erlori Maroon 30-year-old. I knew there's a special spot. With our drinks in hand, we went down the stairs to the basement. Gradually, the music and the sound of the party started to fade away. We arrived at a cozy little corner office with not much inside other than a table and comfortable chairs. He took a seat and I followed suit. It's very nice of you to throw a party for me before our official talks, but I am still slightly tired from the long journey over the ocean. Forgive me if I didn't seem too enthusiastic about the reception. I just don't have the same energy of my youth. I smiled and took a sip from his glass, and he sighed. Time is a funny concept, isn't it? You cannot feel it in the moment, only to realize later that your life passed you by. One day you look in the mirror and see an old man. He took another sip. I believe you used your time relatively well so far, Chairman Melaniev. You had a very full life. He laughed. I've seen many presidents and war leaders change during my lifetime. I've seen toppled governments, civil wars, and war crimes fought against imperialism and the capitalist plutocracies that took its place. I look at the world today and think it has changed so much since I joined the Rotskis as a young revolutionary. But then I look at it again and realize nothing much has really changed. It is perhaps even more divided than ever. There are still wars in every corner of the world. There is still poverty, violence, and slavery. Don't you think we need to step up as leaders of this world and try and put an end to this? I completely agree. We need proper international cooperation to tackle these problems. Precisely. And that's where the CSP comes in. But before we talk about that, he took another sip from his glass and stretched his hands to me. Could you help me? I grabbed his arm and had him stand up. Can we talk somewhere a little less damp? I need some fresh air. Of course. Please follow me, General Melania. I led him up a set of back stairs to another unoccupied office with a balcony overlooking the Hill of Pride. We took our seats around the table. It was rather chilly outside. Reaching into his distinctive jacket, he pulled out a pipe and placed some tobacco leaves inside. The smell of the leaves was overpowering, even outside. Chancellor Hegel told me a lot about you. After preparing his pipe, he lit it with a match. His eyes drifted away from me while the wind blew his hair and smoke to the side. He stared at the horizon to the north. Beyond these plains lies the great Markin Sea, and in the middle of it, a small island, small but very important. I am glad that you gave your support to Chancellor Hegel. It is unacceptable to see Volgish locals on the island being destroyed by the anti-Volgish regime in Heliland. The oppression has become more brutal than ever before. All of this is happening because Volksland joined the CSP. Now, the Western powers are trying to get Agnolia onto their side. They are selling them financial aid, weapons, and intelligence in return for pushing their political agenda. All of this firepower is now being directed at the locals in Helluland. They want to finally eliminate the Volgish culture on the island and set up a military base close to Volksland. We cannot allow that to happen, can we? I believe Volksland has the right to interfere. It's their people who are being massacred. That's right, but for me, this isn't a nationalistic problem. Whether they are Vogs, Agnolians, or Contanans who are being killed doesn't matter. In the end, people are dying for no reason other than the political aims of their governments. Everything has become a race for total influence in Mercopa. This is just a part of Arcasia's grand plan They want the CSP removed from the region, acknowledged as their puppet in its cause. He took a long puff on his pipe. And United Contana will never allow Acacia to install weapons so close to Voxland, nor let them harass CSP ships. They can't be given control of the Markin Sea. Helluland cannot fall. You're right, Chairman Malaniov. We can't let the Western powers take control. Exactly. He took another puff and started coughing heavily. One of his bodyguards dressed in full military uniform rushed towards us with a bottle of water. Thank you, Mikhail, but I'm fine. The guard bowed in respect as Malaniov drank from the bottle. He left the balcony with quick steps. So, where were we? Ah, yes. Sorland's future in the CSP. Cleaned the burnt tobacco residue from his pipe and refilled it. You know, we formed the CSP only in reaction to ATO. Their aim in the beginning was to stop us from uniting the entire continent under socialism. They failed. Now they're more scared than ever. That's why they're growing more and more aggressive. Today, you need the CSP in order to survive against the economic power of the West, and that Contana is willing to give everything it has to help others in their fight against Western dominance. I'm not sure if we need it, but I definitely want to cooperate. Don't get me wrong, Solon's a powerful country, but the world has changed. You cannot stand alone. He lit his pipe and took a puff. The wind pushed all of the smoke in my face. Without us, Arcasia could dominate the world. The Arcasian lira already crippling other economies while they reap the benefits. Yet they claim they're the bringers of freedom. Absurd. Our pact aims to develop the parts of the world that have been left out, bring people together, and make a stand, show the world the power of the people when they unite. So, hereby, I extend an invitation to Solon. I want to see you stand with us. What does the CSP offer for Sorland? Security. First and foremost, CSP is a defensive pact. You will have the backing of the entire military power of our members. Now that Contana and all other members are obliged to defend each other in times of war. We also supply each nation with our military technology and assets, as well as financial aid when it's needed. All members supply each other with their resources and goods, not for their own profit, for the profit of the pact. Our combined production output will benefit both Solon and the CSP. Not to mention visa-free access to every country within the CSP, as well as other mutual assistance deals. Took another puff from his pipe. I will also offer you a small financial contribution to help you kickstart your economy if you sign the deal. Chasahego told me that I could trust you with the money. What do you expect in return? You must accept our doctrines and work towards the goals of the pact, with our power against the ATO. You will not import any technology from Arcasia nor export national resources to them. And finally, we want you to allow us to build a missile defense system in Duru Island, which will protect both Solon and the CSP from the threat of ATO. Will you stand with us against the threat of Fromberg? Of course, Fromberg is a threat to Mercopa. Surely they are being pushed by the Western powers to create instability in the region. Being a CSP member, nobody will dare attack you. And if any conflict occurs nonetheless, you will have the entire CSP's support. I promise you, their queen will no longer meddle in Solland nor Eastern Mercopa. Okay, so it sounds beneficial, and when I played the game initially, it was rather beneficial, but we are doing a Nasserist run. And Nasser did not pick sides. He was friendly with the East because the East decided to be friendly with him, and because the West was not doing friendly. While Nasser always wanted a good relationship with the United States, it just did not happen. So, we will not be joining the CSP. We will not be picking sides. We are going to go with positive non-alignment with a preference to the East. Now, the thing is, I also read a little bit of the war with Rumberg, and if we side with them and we go to war, we're gonna get fucking nuked. Same if we side with the ATO. So, fortunately, I have to decline. He narrowed his eyes, and he stared at me as he exhaled smoke right into my face. Too bad, Mr. Rain. Thought you knew what to expect when you accepted our offer to meet. Looks like it was just a waste of time. Smile. Nonetheless, I extend my good wishes to the Swordfish people. I wish that one day we could all set aside our differences and all people of the world could come together. Maybe you are not ready for that today, The revolution will keep expanding and helping others who need it, whether you stand with us or not. He slowly stood up from his seat, seemingly struggling. Now, I'd like to have a rest, if you'll excuse me. We might not have come to an agreement about CSP, but I still want to have good relations with United Contana. Let's talk about that later, Mr. Rain. Thank you. I led him back inside. Late night at Rain household. I mean, uh, it's like whatever. It's whatever. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's carry on. Let's carry on. Late night at the Rain household. After weeks of late nights, Monica, Ciara, and the Women's Rights Commission had succeeded in getting their bill through the assembly. It was as comprehensive as they would have hoped for. I was looking forward to celebrating with my wife. But it had been hours since I'd gotten home, and she still wasn't there. I was dozing on the couch after yet another frozen TV dinner when I heard the key turn in the lock. Monica stumbled into the hall. Honey, I'm home! I kissed her. Her breath smells like gin. I was just having a few drinks with Ciara. Can't believe we did it, Anton. This is such amazing news. She hiccuped. Could have invited me to the celebrations. Oh, you would found it boring, and somebody had to look out for Dina. My God, I'm starting to see what I put you through for all those years. Get used to it, baby. Seriously, Anton, this is what I want to do. I've never felt so alive. I opened my briefcase and pulled out the photograph I'd taken from my old office on that fateful night with Peter. Oh, wow, look at us. I'm still as madly in love with you as I was the day that photo was taken. Monica smiled, took my hand, and wordlessly led me upstairs to the bedroom. Oh, okay. All right. Um, okay. Okay, we're seeing economical growth. Okay, that was a pleasant surprise. The president got two good news in one night. Love is wonderful. High investment synergy achieved. Investments across multiple sectors are demonstrating high levels of synergy, leading to impressive economic growth. The well coordinated infusion of capital into sectors in different ways has resulted in significant advancement and a boost in productivity. This efficient allocation of resources is driving economic success and setting a strong foundation to fuel for future prosperity. I knew I was doing it right. I knew I was doing it right. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You need to give me. I need to be president of Lebanon. Like Solon started with 8 billion in the reserves. Lebanon currently has 8 billions in the reserves. So I can save the country. Or maybe not. That's a fucking stressful job. I bet if our president wasn't didn't have a fully shaved head, I think the stress would have gotten to him, and it would have you know did not work well on his hairline, which is what stress does. It weakens your body, weakens your hair. It's not good for you. It's not good for you. And I do not envy the position the president of Lebanon is currently in, and I wish him the best on his endeavors to try and solve the issues we have diplomatically with this balancing act. I might not agree with everything, all of his policies, but I do wish him well on his endeavors. High investment strategy achieved. Woohoo! Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, I need to type this out. I need to type this out. Hold on. All right. Okay. If we pull this off, this would be incredible. Auxiliary Navy spotted in full force in Helluland. According to intelligence reports, the Auxiliary Navy gathered in full force around Helluland, blockading the island. Reports warn about possible violent conflict between Agnolian and Auxilian forces. Swedish Navy in Corniat is on standby. Solon's largest military parade ever. Blood is Rights bill rejected. Fuck. WPP record membership number. According to the numbers released by the Workers' Party of Ludia, there's a massive increase in their membership, breaking a new record for the party. The polls also show that the popularity of the party has reached new heights in Bergia and is expected to finish the first or the second in the region of Bergia. Fateh Ijal said in a public statement the Workers' Party is leading a great journey to the Maroon Palace to finally bring about the People's Revolution. Fuck you. Those who are at the top may continue ignoring us, but people respond to them in the polls. Solent creates peace line to avert war. Following Romberg's demands for reparations from Solent, the tensions have increased dramatically between the two countries. As today, a Swedish warplane has been shot by the Romberg anti-air systems, and all the pilots on board have been killed. As per the information from Romberg, the Swedish warplane has trespassed into Rombergian airspace, where Swedish military reports that the plane was inside Swedish borders when it was shot. The international community is unclear of the certainty of the reports from both sides. Thankfully, the Swedish administration approached the incident calmly and established a peace line to avert war between the two countries. President Rain has been commended internationally for his efforts to de-escalate the situation and maintain peace. One-on-one interview from Kirut. Lushin Galati organized an interview for the presidency on the internationally renowned one-on-one. The famous journalist Thomas Sacker will be asking the questions. The crew of one-on-one and Thomas Sacker will arrive next week in Lakavin from Kirut. That's Switzerland. That's basically Switzerland, I feel. Espionage is Unified Intelligence Agency. ATO demands transit rights from the Confederacy of Yaktalays. Oh, let's see. Highland Operation signaled Vaxladian military officials have gave us their signal for their operation into Helluland. All soldier civilian vessels have retreated from potential conflict zone. Several soldier ships and planes will continue their trips around the island and will share intelligence with the Vaxladian forces. Election speech at the USP HQ. Let's go! Let's go! We're gonna get fucked in here, but let's go! The sun was starting to peek through the blinds of my suite in the Grand Chariot Hotel in Andrika. I hadn't slept at all last night. I was too busy thinking about how I would rally my party's conservative base at today's election kickoff. I was just pulling on my clothes when two soft, sharp knocks came at the door. Lucian. Good morning, sir. I told you, Lucian, you're vice president now. Stop calling me sir, you don't have to. Force of habit, sir. Anton. Lucian unclasped his briefcase and took out a small disc-shaped device. After scanning the room with it, he gave a satisfied nod. It's about your investigation to the oligarchs. As you know, Masakoranti is currently out of the picture, but there's been a very interesting update regarding Mr. Tusk. Lucian pulled out a folder and opened it. The anti-corruption police have looked further into Walter Tusk's foreign ties and found some very unsettling information. One of his corporation's subsidiaries is directly involved in smuggling and selling Rambergian KA-74s within Sorland. A traitor! This is treason on the highest level. There's no doubt Tusk must be punished. It may be possible to trial him in absentia even if Arcadia did extradite him after that. It would set an example for other businessmen considering similar deals. Would you like to go forth with that, sir? I suppose it's my only choice. Lucian nodded smoothly. As you wish, I'll inform the relevant authorities. Now that that's settled, I'll let you prepare for your rally. I also almost forgot the Archpriest of Dare couldn't be present today, trying to relay a message of support to you and your family. What did he say? I blessed the rains down in Anrika. Oh my god! Oh my god, this is funny. I blessed the rains down in this is a refer I believe this is a reference to that song Africa by the band Toto. That was a good song. That's a funny reference. Lucian left the room. I finished putting on my tie and reread my notes of the morning speech. I love when video games put in references such as these. A few hours later, I was waiting in the wings at the Nozord Auditorium in Andrika. In the audience were several thousand of my conservative supporters. Behind the podium hung a Swedish flag and giant banner that read, "Victory is close." Andrika Mayor Corten Leste gave a short introductory speech. It was hard to forget how the Benfai event went down. Everyone cheered as I walked on stage, though Mayor Curtin Leste was now part of the opposition as member of the NFP. It seemed most of Andrika was still on my side. Lucian gave a short speech introducing me. Then it was my turn. I stepped behind the podium and took my deep breath. Brothers and sisters of the USP, past 3.5 years have seen our country tested again and again. Yet I stand before you now, ready to pledge myself to God and Sorland yet again. With my re-election, I will finish pulling Solon's economy from the depths of recession. Under my presidency, soldier citizens have united like never before. We brought change to our broken constitution. I remain committed to stamping out the corruption that has plagued Swedish corporations for far too long. Thunderous applause erupted. Solon has changed, but the USB remains as strong as ever. Meanwhile, I dare to envision a brave new direction for our party. It was the socialism of our eastern neighbors. Some have accused me of straying from the values of the USB. To them, I say, Solon has changed, but the USB remains as strong as ever. There has been tremendous progress made in this term, and more is to come. I and Vice President Galade shall lead Solon into a bright new era. A roar shook the hall. This time, my fellow swords, a new dawn is upon us, and it begins right here and right now. A Morgna score. The audience enthusiastically finished the saying as streamers shot out of cannons behind me. My re-election campaign had officially begun. I stepped down from the podium. Okay, alright, situation has updated. Oh, fuck. Um, task trial and abstention. Alright, let's see. Economic situation. Gruni lagging behind in development. Agland lacks investment. Belgia economy plummets. No! But we were doing so well. We have recovered trade volume and tax efficient economy. Alright, we did a tax efficient welfare. Funding disruptions and welfare. Overburdened welfare system. Fuck. This was not ideal. This is far from ideal. This is bullshit. Source Navy prepares for naval drill amid rising regional tensions. In response to the increasing regional military tensions, Source Navy stationed in the port of city of Conriad is preparing for a large-scale naval drill. The planned exercises are aimed at honing the readiness of the naval forces and showcasing Solon's military strength. These proactive measures signal Solon's commitment to maintaining regional stability and national security. Okay. Reverse Minority Rights Convention. Personal language bombers development a defining endeavor. Briefing on the current economic situation. Fuck. I arrived at the Ministry of Economy and proceeded upstairs. An assistant waiting by the door to the meeting room took my jacket. I opened the door and entered the largest boardroom in the building. Simon was sitting alone with a glass of water and his documents laid out before him. He stood up when I entered and approached me. After a quick handshake, I took a seat. Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon. A knock was heard on the door and Lucian entered the room. Totally forgot to close the... whatever, I'll close it later. My most sincere apologies, I was attending to other matters. Did you start yet? Mr. Vice President, no, not yet. Now that everyone is here, let's begin. As you all know, we're here to review the economic progress we've made over the past term and decide how to proceed. I will brief you quickly on what we have done so far, just as a refresher. Very well then, let's hear it. He gathered the documents in the pile in front of him and adjusted his glasses. From the pile, he produced two booklets and handed them to us. Please turn to page 5. Turn to page 5. Let's start off with our economy plan. I am glad to say that we are on track with our intention of our planned economy. Most of our decisions so far have been pretty consistent. We need to keep at it and make sure we follow through. Agreed, we still have much to do. That's what I'm here for. Let's move on with the report. If I were to describe what we have done so far, I could say that it's very close to a full command economic system. Please turn to page 16. Turn to page 16. I am happy to say that our trade has increased since the beginning of our term. We are on the right path. More trade means a more vibrant economy, which means unbridled economic development. Having said that, the fact that we are now able to rely completely on our own economy is definitely a step in the right direction. Minus 24 government budget. This gives us a good rhetoric to use in our election campaigns. That is certainly your area of expertise, Mr. Galadi. Now that we can stand on our 2 feet, we can aim for more opportunities with foreign countries. We will have to carefully consider this matter during our second term. Please turn to page 17. Turn to page 17. In our attempt to repair Solon's economic system, we have mostly gone against the wishes of big business in favor of the requests of sort citizens. This caused us to take on some losses in order to make the people happy. Thankfully, living standards are steadily increasing. We've been receiving fewer and fewer complaints about our welfare systems. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Good. A satisfied populace means more votes to the incumbent administration. Exactly. Unfortunately, our country's suicide rates have increased threefold since the start of our term. We are currently the third-ranked country just behind Welland and Drumberg on suicide rates, which is very alarming. With this is due to our recent tax bills and prostitution ban. Okay, okay, like people stop smoking, stop drinking, and stop, paying for sex, and they start dying. Nah, nah, that's bullshit. Some of our industries have also been knocked down to their knees by recent taxations. The demand for these goods has decreased drastically, which led to businesses in these industries being shut down. Some people are calling the government out for infringing on their personal liberty. Apparently, some even filed lawsuits saying the taxes violate their human dignity. Their lawyers argued for them that they need it for mental health treatment. Now turn to page 34. Production in our country has nearly doubled since the start of our administration. It is a great success. Let's not forget about the sacrifices we had to make to achieve this. It's true our path wasn't easy, but the success will help us greatly come election time. We're on the right track. If we keep doing what we are doing, it is bound to get better. Moving on to logistics. We have an infrastructure problem when the economy won't truly flourish unless we solve it. We need to make new roads and improve the existing ones. People and businesses alike have been complaining. Smoother commutes, easier access, and faster delivery times would help everyone out. We are very close to the end. I want to talk about a few numbers. Please turn to page 37. I have prepared a chart. Turn to page 57. Our inflation rate is currently at a staggering 49%, way up from 10%, and might be the highest in Solon's history. The Swedish trend has been widely fluctuating as a result, and consumer prices have gone up, which means that Swedish citizens are angry at the government. We need to fix this. There's nothing more important than the well-being of our citizens. Agreed. Mr. President, do you have any questions so far? What is our debt situation? Our current debt is at 611 billion, up to 427 billion at the beginning of our term. This debt is due to government borrowing and the interest on our previous debts. As a result, our government's budget has decreased substantially. Due to our reckless spending in the first term, I'm sorry to say that we have entered a debt crisis. According to my calculations, we won't be able to pay up our government debt without the assistance of a third party. It has even disrupted funding to our welfare plans. Some construction projects and programs needed to be put on hold because of that. How are we doing with unemployment? The unemployment rate remains steady at 60%. The stagnation is mostly due to the lack of investments and average economic planning. What are the latest numbers of our GDP? Our current GDP is at 141 billion SR, a major decrease from the 310 billion we had at the beginning of our term. As per the latest stats, the economy shrank 18% in the last 4 years on average. In short, we are suffering from a decreased economical capacity. Those are all the questions I had. But I mean, like, we are recovering, but also not recovering. What kind of fucking economy am I running? Very well. I want to quickly highlight our budget expenditure. My numbers indicate that overall we have been generously spending on our government budget. Money that is not just spent is just pieces of paper, so that's good for us. Now, going into the elections and hopefully a second term, we need to decide on the way forward. One thing is clear, we need a bigger budget. We shouldn't start our next term with a budget deficit. What should we do, Mr. President? Any ideas? We will take an international loan from the MFI. This will pose quite a risk to the reputation of our administration, but it can be done. I'll get right on it after this meeting. Now that that's out of the way, during our first term, we have faced many challenges in the midst of a recession. We have worked hard to fight against the odds, but it was not enough. Simon paused to wipe his glasses as well before continuing. Mr. President, you may have surmised from the numbers I have given you that the economy has worsened considerably over the course of our administration. I wanted to prepare you for the truth. This is no longer a mere recession. We've entered a period that historians might reasonably refer to as the Swedish Great Depression. We have broken our promises and failed our people. My only hope is that future generations will be able to forgive us when they look back. We have done all we could. Now is the time to look to the future and try to fix our mistakes. I believe that is still possible. You'll recall that my predecessor, Mr. Vectern, was far from an economic mastermind. Now that I've been given more license to act, everything should run much more smoothly. We will get through this together. That is all for our meeting today. Luckily, my cabinet hasn't fallen down yet. Thank you for coming. The meeting dispersed. I hurried to the cafeteria to get a cup of coffee. Okay. International MFI loans. Hmm. Okay. The situation in welfare is not good, but I'll figure something out. Economic situation in Gruni. The economy of Gruni region with Volgan as its epicenter is confronting stagnation. Despite earlier forecasts of considerable growth across sectors, including urban development, agriculture, and tourism, current trends paint a rather bleak picture. The region's growth strategies and government investments have not translated into the expected economic surge. If this stagnation continues, Brunei's ambition to becoming a dynamic economic hub in the east of Solent may face serious delays. Ah, yeah, I spent so much money on this. Open soon to be a ghost town, the city of Mo requests financial aid for the city to combat the increased immigration. He reported that the city will be a ghost town in a few years if no measures are taken. The lack of goods and materials flowing from Morna and Holsworth is the main contributing factor to the city's economic downturn. Increased crime and racial violence plague Sarna. The mayor of Sarna requests financial aid and additional security for Sarna. Reported a spike in racial violence and crime in the city. Lack of investments needs to identify the economic differences between the different parts of society. Tons of salmon left rotting in storage. The mayor of Lenko requests financial aid to the city. Yeah, the situation is bleak. I get it. NFP welcomes General Luderin's son. The National Front Party has welcomed General Luderin's son into their midst today in Holsworth, seeing Luderin back in politics shocking to many citizens. General Luderin famously organized a military coup against former President Whiskey that led to the Swedish Civil War. Mr. Kiepener has organized the event to appeal to his voter base. It's a symbolic step for the NFP, as Luderin was arguably the most well-known nationalist in Sorland. No public fuck. According to the latest polling data from the Heart of Solon research group, public approval for the incumbent administration sits at a low 35%. A significant portion of the respondents expressing dissatisfaction indicates a challenging scenario for the current administration in the upcoming elections. A certain alliance, Solent aids Volksland in hell and invasion, President Sun at the front lines. Alfonso Foundation expands reach to Anraka and Arcasia. Turkish forces help Helena, a nightmare or necessary measure. Solon's navy and Helen invasion question about the material of reaching its strongest. Anraka's maritime might, nuclear powered vessels make waves. Okay. Turkish Great Depression, and then we have as the 1957 elections start to approach, Franz Victor and the People's Freedom and Justice Party are making waves in Lakaven. Their campaign slogan "Victory for Everyone" covered the city after a campaign visit to the city. The PFGP has been the United Scotland Party's major opposition since their formation each year earning high percentage of votes. I should have allied with them. Fuck. So is Great Depression. The current economic climate in Solent has taken a severe downturn, leading to what is now being referred to as the Swedish Great Depression. The sharp rise in unemployment, coupled with a steep decline in gross domestic product, underscores the gravity of the situation. Prevailing concerns about government overspending have further aggravated the crisis, giving rise to financial instability. Yeah. Fuck. 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 Scheduled television interview. The makeup crew had just finished their preparation for the interview. Lucian stopped me on my way out of the balcony of the Blue Mansion where the filming crew was standing ready. Are you ready for the interview, sir? Yes. Good. I've done my best to make this happen. This is very important for our administration. The crew is prepared to start filming. Mr. Sacker is excited to interview you. As I explained before, it would be bad press to decline this offer. They are the most prestigious interviewer program in the world, and they are from Kirut. The country is known for its neutrality. I don't think there will be too much pressure. It's fine. I can handle it. I walked to the balcony. Oh, okay, so this dude does not have a wiki page or a codex page. I walked to the balcony and sat on the seat prepared to meet directly across from Mr. Sacker. Mr. President, welcome to One on One. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Let us begin with the latest incident between Solon and Rumberg. An aircraft of the Swedish Air Forces was shot down by Rumbergian anti-air guns a few weeks ago. Officials from the Rumbergian government proclaimed that the aircraft was flying inside the airspace of Rumberg. Your government has been silent apart from a few statements which claim that your plane was indeed in Swedish airspace when it was shot down. Do you believe the Rumbergian forces initiated an intentional attack? have reason to believe that yes, Stromberg has become increasingly aggressive over the last years. Does that mean there will be more hostilities on the horizon? I hope not. We are willing to do what it takes to avoid conflict. Do you believe Queen Livingstone shares the same sentiment? I hope she does. We're willing to work together to achieve peace in Eastern Mercopa. This week, both the Arcasian and United Contanan governments have condemned the airplane incident. Do you think they would be willing to serve as mediators in the case of a broader conflict between your countries? I hope so. We look up to the international community to maintain peace in all of Mercopa. Before we move on with that, I want to ask about another topic. Not so long ago, you claimed that a spy was discovered within your administration, and the alleged spy was none other than your own secretary. The resulting scandal resulted in Mr. Vectorn leaving office. He was blamed, and you appointed a new vice president. Many claim that this was just an internal political move designed to replace Mr. Vectorn. What do you have to say about these accusations? That is absurd. Mr. Vectorn took it upon himself to bear responsibility and decided to resign by his own volition. It would it would have been very difficult not to take responsibility when you, as the president, revealed the wrongdoings. One might say he was forced to resign. You are missing the part where I also took on the responsibility and accepted the blame. That may be true, but that doesn't change the fact that he may have been pressured to resign. But let's move on. He didn't look like he was satisfied by my response. He stopped for a moment and took a brief look at his papers. Okay, let's return to your foreign policy. Let's talk about the ongoing conflict around Helena Island. I believe Solon is committed to stand with Vogsland. In fact, you have a military alliance with them. According to reports from yesterday, the Vogslandian Navy has finally attacked the Agnolian fleet at Helena Island. Today, Prime Minister Van Horten confirmed the invasion. He said Vogsland troops have landed on the island. We also received several reports claiming there were soldier ships and planes aiding the Vogslandian Navy. What is Solon's role in this conflict? Will you finally admit that you are helping the invading forces? Solon has nothing to do with the invasion. However, Vogsland has a right to intervene in Helluland. Mr. President, I have the report from the Alliance of Nations here. He pulled a grainy photograph of a ship and showed it to me. Here. The soldier's flag on the ship was clearly visible. He then shuffled the paper in front of him, placed a paper on the top, and started reading it. Yesterday morning, the soldier's fleet was spotted in the vicinity of Helluland, and reconnaissance planes were observed flying above the island. It clearly shows that your forces are interfering. How will you explain this? That doesn't prove anything. Our ships are there for humanitarian aid, nothing more. Humanitarian aid with gunboats. The AN's report clearly states that soldier ships were blocking the route from Stockport to Helluland right before the Bostonian attack occurred. What are you saying is a bit of an overstretch, don't you think, Mr. President? I'm not saying the AN is lying, but they're forgetting to check what our forces are actually doing. It is a biased report. You're still insisting on your stance. You're denying it then? I believe I've gave you my answer already. I see. This is a very huge accusation from your side, Mr. President. Please, let's continue with other questions. He let out a sigh. Fine, let's move on. Last year, a huge conflict took place close to your borders with Welland, when the Wessex forces partook in a massacre of bloody civilians under the guise of eliminating the Blood Freedom Front. Solon decided to watch the atrocities take place. In fact, you not only closed the borders with the refugees fleeing from a massacre, your border guards worked in cooperation with the Wessex forces. Will you accept responsibility of thousands of lives that were lost in Welland? Of course not. You have nothing to do with what went down inside of Welland. We only protect our borders. When you have criticized Solon for its role in this conflict, do you not accept any of criticisms? No, there is nothing wrong with protecting our country. You could have. On the gesture of the director, he stopped before finishing his sentence. Well, it seems that's all the time we have for today. The director shouted at the crew to stop recording. We both stood up and shook hands. Thank you for your valuable time, Mr. President. It was a pleasure. Likewise, Mr. Sacker. I hope to interview you again in the future. Lucian walked up to the director and started talking to him. I went inside the building. Hopefully, that went well. Controversial power visit. Following the brief visit to Lakavan, there has been an outcry against the unpopular president, with violent protests feared to be imminent. The city is deeply unhappy with the president's term, and there has been some calls for Rain's resignation. WP record membership, that's good. The WP leader poisoned leader of the workers has bought by a nerve agent and was hospitalized in a serious condition. He was shipped to Sana to deliver a speech for his campaign. He suddenly became ill after eating Zapla with a local family. An investigation has been launched to find the culprit. Solon dependent on foreign help. Soldiers Great Depression. Soldiers champion against the Risian giants. Solent reliant on foreign aid. Rain administration resorts to MFI loans, neck deep in mud. Boxland occupies Helena. Alright. Mansoon becomes new WPP leader. That's good. He's a friend of ours. Mansoon might return to WPP to fill Elia's role. Okay. SPI raises alert level over Ravnos Island. Like I reached a point where I don't feel like I want to. Well, I don't want to read everything that the game has to throw at me. There's of course a lot of lore, a lot of things happening, and I think it is. You guys have to. Uh, you have to play the game for yourselves and explore these things for yourselves. Private meeting with Elias Graf. The historic Graf Manor lay on the outskirts of Arvory at the end of a long, winding drive. Nearly 2 centuries old, it was as formidable as Elias herself. Hmm. Elias has invited me for a private dinner, just the two of us. I wasn't sure of her motivations, but was happy to have an excuse to escape the chaos back in Holsworth. Serge dropped me off at the door. I knocked. I think I think I missed out on a few things before in uh, one of the cutscenes by pressing enter. As I invited me for a private dinner, Serge dropped me off the door. I used the heavy brass signal. Okay. Gas lanterns lent the wood paneled room a cozy orange glow. Lias was sitting on the sofa. Over her hung a nearly life size portrait of a sallow, unhappy looking young woman in a lace ball gown. Is that you? My mother, actually. I was her only child, giving birth to me left her medically unable to conceive. My father never could forgive her for not bearing him a son. She never forgave me. She took. Holy shit, okay. Family drama? She took a measured sip of one of the two glasses of sparkling wine she was holding and handed me the other. Sounds like a painful childhood. The silver lining is that despite personally despising me, they felt compelled to grant me all the advantages a son would have had, including the education I needed to rise to my current position. Would you be so kind as to tell me why you invited me over? Given how your wife spends her time these days, I thought you might be in need of a home-cooked supper. The butler silently stepped into the parlor and rang a silver bell. Ah, speaking of which, she led me into the dining room, where a glittering chandelier hung from the high ceiling. Beneath it was a long table set for two. A woman in an apron, chef's hat, Westlake by her appearance, ceremoniously presented a roast rack of venison. Oh, smells delicious. The groundskeeper shot it this morning. Nias bowed her head and said a quick prayer, then motioned for me to dig in. It was some of the best meat I've ever had. We ate in silence for a while, when Daniela pensively laid down her cutlery. Anton, I want you to know that I have nothing but respect for you. I respect you too, but given certain developments that have occurred over the course of your term, I believe you are no longer fit to lead the United Solon Party. Daniela took a deep breath. I wanted you to be the first to know that I myself will be running against you at the party congress. I suspected that might happen. Of course you did. You aren't stupid. Even if you weren't steering this party further and further from its roots, you are a disgrace to the good name of Tarkin's soul. Did you poison my food? Yes, reached over to my plate, took a forkful of meat, and ate it, while looking me in the eye. I don't need those kinds of tricks to beat you. I'm doing you a courtesy tonight. I didn't want to surprise you at the Congress. And I wanted to give you time to consider backing me. Sorry, Lilias, I can't back down now. I understand. I'll tender my official resignation once we're both back in Holsworth. I rose from my chair. I will take my leave. Thanks for the evening nonetheless. You fucking snake! I'll have the butler show you out. She stayed seated as her butler gently led me outside. As Serge and I drove away, I looked in the rearview mirror and saw their silhouette in the doorway. So I was being challenged from within my own party. This Ilias wouldn't pose much of a threat. So I hoped. Connections in the cabinet has changed. Fuck. Minister of Interior resigns. Graf resigns. Minister of Interior Graf resigns. Graf throws in the towel. Okay. Military parade. Let's do this. It was an unusual day for the residents of Folsord. Regularly used streets and avenues were blocked off by the military personnel. Many shops and cafes were closed, and once crowded stores were now empty. Instead, thousands of residents in Holsworth were concentrated in one street, Victory Avenue. Stretching out through the heart of Holsworth, people on both sides of the road were waving their soldier flags proudly for the military parade. I was getting prepared to embark on my trip. It was going to be a short drive down the Victory Avenue until we reached Maroon Palace. My company for this trip was Iosef with Serge, as usual, driving the presidential car. Iosef approached me. He was wearing his decorated ceremony outfit. He carried a sword with a goat head at the handle and his pistol by his hip. He put on his cap. Mr. President, we are almost ready. We will depart right after the tank column. Kronberg will think twice after today. They will tremble before the soldiers' military might. Yeah, so true, bestie. After hearing the loud thump of a book falling down to the floor, he turned to a couple of privates that were doing the preparations of the schedule and started walking in their direction. Private, can't you do your job properly? I watched the young soldiers perform a loud salute to Yosef. What is this salute, soldier? This is our real salute. He performed an excellent salute, and after scolding the privates, he walked back. Strict as ever. Old habits die hard. Serge appeared from the entrance and joined us. Mr. President, Mr. Lancia. Serge performed a salute to Joseph, which made Joseph smile under his mustache. At ease, Mr. Walkner. Are we ready to depart yet? Yes, sir. Follow me, please. We started following Serge through the corridors. Mr. President, have you seen the tanks? Our planes, too. Rumberg will be so scared when they see this. That is the plan. Great one, I'd say. My kids were very excited to wake up today, to see the planes fly. Serge, where did you do your military service? Morna 7th Artillery Squadron. I still talk with many of my friends from those days. The camaraderie of military is never forgotten. I'm still in touch with my friends from basic training as well. What about you, sir? Where did you serve? All over Sorland, Mr. President was under my command once. Gamren Outpost. Turned to me. Do you remember those days? Who can forget about Major Lancia? We called him the Relentless. He also let out a long laugh. Good old days. I also remember his president did not like to execute direct orders from his superiors. I did what needed to be done, which was disobeying orders, but I won't delve into the past. We are here, sir. We exited the building and walked over to the clearance where the black Cadilla, the presidential car, was waiting. It was decorated properly for the event and the top canopy had been removed so that I could stand and wave to the people. On the way to the car, generals and admirals were lined up on both sides of the carpet. The atmosphere immediately changed when these experienced men who fought many times for their country saluted me. I saluted back with respect. Entered the car and Sir started the engine. He also saluted me. We were on our way shortly. Good luck, Mr. President. The car started rolling. Even though there were many walls and trees in between the car and the crowd, I was able to hear the deafening sounds of cheering Solar's citizens. Gradually, we made our way to the starting point. A couple of old propeller planes flew above our heads, and I thought whether the planes were older than me. Loud footsteps on the marching soldiers were followed by loud noises coming from the tank engines. The tanks came into my view. They were not the most modern models, however, they displayed our military might. Couldn't even finish my thought, and one of the tanks broke down and had to be towed. Okay, that's fucked up. We waited for a few minutes for the announcement. Finally, it was our turn. On both sides of the Victory Avenue, there were numerous citizens cheering my name, waving their soldiers' flags. I will raise my fist. No, fuck it, I will salute. I saluted. Looking at the benches where the general staff was sitting at, I saw Talking Soul sitting next to General Vulcan. We kept our slow and steady pace. We were almost at the Arthur Whiskey statue several hundred meters away. A group of soldiers saluted me as we passed by. They looked proud and stout in the new infantry uniforms and with brand new rifles. We continued on as per the schedule and finally arrived at the Maroon Palace, which marked the end of the parade. People of Folsom dispersed to their homes. A clear message was sent to Rumberg by the display of our military might. We were about to see whether it would be enough or not. Wait. Wait. What? Okay, something isn't right. Something isn't right. Because in this situation, there was supposed to be an assassination attempt on me. And Serge would stop it. And he would die. And he will... And oh, wait, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He gave me the watch already as a good luck charm when we passed the constitution reforms through the National Assembly. So I can survive a fucking assassination attempt at the end of my turn without needing this, without having to go to Serge's funeral. Because at Serge's funeral, I gave his son, named after me, his dad's pocket watch to protect him in the future. Like this was from your father. Take it, cherish it. And it was the right thing to do, and I was conflicted whether if I should keep it or not, and I was going to say that generally speaking, I would have given him the watch and then died in the campaign speech. But now, but instead, I will keep it because I want to see this to the end, and because Serge did not die. Okay, okay, this is good. All right, will of the state. I think we are in our last turn right now. at least heading towards it. The situation is bad. It's already bad. World leaders to gather at the Alliance of Nations. Session for the Alliance of Nations sessions. We have received the schedule for the upcoming Alliance of Nations sessions according to the dates outlined. Solent 1 is being prepared for the flight to Constantium. Kirut, Minister of Foreign Affairs David Whiskey, will be attending the session as well as accompanying Mr. President on the flight. Okay, the situation is fucked. Merkopan Champions Cup brought to the Maroon Stadium, Andrika. Today, the management of FC Andrika had invited me to attend a pivotal football match at Lucian's urging. I accepted. The team was representing Solent in the international arena. According to Lucian, it would have been unprecedented not to put in an appearance. FC Andrika was finally in the Morkopan Champions Cup, the most prestigious football tournament in the world. For the first time ever, a Swedish team has managed to qualify for the knockout phase. Millions of Swedish people were waiting to watch FC Andrika compete against the legendary Rizian team Real Montaclar. Despite all odds being stacked against the team, the mood was full of hope. A win today would bring Andrika to the quarterfinals, a feat that no Swedish team had ever managed to achieve. And of course, all presidents of Solent, current and former, were invited to watch this historic competition. I was told that both Arkansas and Alfonso would be joining me in the lounge reserved for us. How are you feeling, sir? Fine, Lucian. Thank you. We made our way towards the Maroon Stadium. The arena was situated in one of the most crowded quarters of Andrika, surrounded by dense urban development. As we wound our way through the streets, I noticed the name of Tarkin Sol everywhere. Since I'd last been here, markets, restaurants, and even pubs named after the colony had all popped up. Why is Andrika so crazy about Sol all of a sudden? I noticed this as well. I've heard it is a part of an ad campaign from Andrika, an attempt to draw tourists, or at least soulless ones, to the city. Sol's legacy still lives on for millions after all. Lucian's pocket radio crackled. After responding, he turned to me. Sir, security gave us the clear and informed us that Tarkin Sol has already arrived at the lounge. Hey there, Nestor, what's up? Good luck. I know he's quite the imposing presence. Please follow the guards to the top floor. You will be seated in the VIP lounge. Any advice before I leave? You know the guest of honor more than I do, sir. If all else fails, just focus on the match. It shouldn't be difficult. Even just the fact that you are here will surely help with our campaign image. I hope so, Lucian. I follow the security. I am doing alright. Trying to avoid getting sick. Even though my entire home is sick. Even the birds. The birds are sick. They're sneezing all the time and whatnot. So like, God protect us. And my economy is fucked. My growth is down the drain. And I did survive an assassination attempt that never happened. Probably the anti-corruption police. It's good. I followed the security who entered beneath a giant sign that read "Welcome to the Hall of Martyrs." The corridors inside were painted almost completely in maroon. Adorning them were various depictions of the soldier's coat and numerous jerseys, awards, and team photographs. On our way up, I was greeted by the president of the club. Beaming with pride, he immediately shook my hand. Behind him, Mayor Curtin Leste and Gus Manger were waiting to greet me as well. All of them had FC Andrika pins attached to their collars. Welcome to Andrika, Mr. President. You are always welcome in Andrika, and it is great to see you show support in person. Thanks for being here. This match means a lot for us all Andrikans. For all of us Andrikans. And all of Solent. The Real Four as a Swedish team reached the stage in the Berkopen Cup. I have high hopes for today. This is a big achievement for Swedish football. Football is of rapidly expanding importance in Solent and beyond. It's good that we see the opportunity in it. The president of the club walked in, handed us gift bags full of FC Andrika merchandise, and gave a speech stressing the importance of today's match. After delivering his best wishes, he kindly pointed us towards the lounge, which was surrounded by heavily armed men. Once I finally found myself inside, I was greeted by an amazing view of the entire pitch through floor to ceiling windows. Tarkin's soul was already seated on the leather sofa, casting his hawk-like gaze out onto the field. He did not react when I entered. It's good to see you here, Mr. Saul. Tarkinson leaned on his crane and turned his head to look at me. Mr. Rain, I didn't hear you come in. He smiled at me and gestured at the vacant spot beside me. Please, join me. I approached the sofa and sat next to him. I didn't expect you to show up today. It is heartening to see that you're a supporter of Enrica and soldier sports. I could say the same for you, Mr. Saul. Corner of his mouth curled up mirthlessly. Mirthlessly. What does mirthlessly mean? Let's Google that. Mirth. Amusement. Okay. Okay. Tell me, is everything faring well with your new constitution, Mr. Rain? Now that we've put the 1929 constitution behind us, things are only going to get better. You assume too much. Sigh. Despite all the warning signs, you adamantly followed your own big-headed vision for Sorland. You continued on the path that the world Alfonso started, obliterating our economy and throwing the nation into a quagmire of poverty and depression. You have stayed straight from the values of the party. I am warning you, Anton. Don't you dare go too far. I understand your concerns, sir, but I beg to differ. Be careful, Mr. Rain. You are pulling all of Eastern Maricopa into a bloody conflict with Rumberg. Don't get me wrong, I may have reacted the same way in your stead, but I would have made sure the Swordfish military was well and ready for such a fight. I truly hope you are ready for what's coming, for all of our sakes. I'm doing everything I can to prevent a conflict with them. You must try harder before it's too late. I rebuild this republic with my own sweat and blood. I will not see it collapse again. And I will never let that happen. Good, at least you have the spirit. I know we have had our differences, to say the least, but I cannot argue with your brilliance on the battlefield. If we do go to war, would you consider offering your guidance? You are taking a risk going over the head of General Kruger, son. If and when that fateful day comes, I will not stand idly by, watch my country fall. I will tell you that much. A sudden burst of cheering from the stadium made both of us look out the window. The players had begun walking onto the field. Look, Mr. Rain, it's starting. He pointed directly at the group of FC Andrica fans who stood up holding colored boards, creating a massive illustration of Dark and Soul. As the portrait of the bottom row of boards slowly revealed the words, Welcome home, Colonel. I kept watching the stadium. As if plastering my name everywhere in the city was enough, I suppose I'm flattered. Another group of fans raised their boards to reveal a silhouette of the famous Hall of Warriors, a Markian-era architectural ruin in Andrica, with Darken's Soul in front of it. As the players of Real Montaclar lined up in the middle of the field, FC Andrica fans started chanting, We'll eat you whole for Colonel Soul! Right after the referee signaled the start of the match, the door behind us closed with a thud. Well, Colonel, how do you feel about being Andrica's new poster boy? It looks like it's working well for the city, and if you moved back home, I'm sure you'd get free meals and drinks everywhere you went. Ewald Alfonso quickly walked up to the sofa, shook our hands, and sat next to us, smiling as he did so. Huh, you know I never had a strong connection to this place. Mr. Leste should have asked my permission before using my name to market the city. Oh, it was actually Gus Magner's idea. Why am I not surprised? He's full of ideas, your Mr. Manger. Except when it comes to the job he's actually supposed to be doing. No need to be so dismissive. Gus has proven himself time and again. His work rejuvenated social industries. Without him, Annika wouldn't be the city it is today. What did Gus do for Anrika? He invested heavily in this city and helped transform Anrika into a tourist destination. And he's the one who saw the potential in football. All of the man's so-called accomplishments have been purely accidental. You say that, Mr. Soul, but Mr. Magner is a respectable professional who actually loves this country. Ooh! More like an errand boy doing the bidding of those who line his pockets. Also sighed. I don't intend to take on the role of his personal spokesman. You know, I was in Rizia a few days ago to meet with our energy partners. I was happy to find out that the royals over there appear to be in favor of pursuing friendly relations with Sorland. Still don't think they would do anything to harm their connection with Rumberg, but cooperating with them was the right call. You're fond of the monarchists now, Ewald? They must be filling your pockets with Rizian gold. For Dast's sake, Mr. Soul, try to see the positive in what I do for once. How about you claim responsibility for once? It's your fault that a giant like Gazam was brought to the brink of collapse. I've done ever admit it. It was too much of a responsibility for you. A man with your profit-focused mentality should have never been given the keys to such a vital sector. Ewell's upper lip curled. To be fair, it's good to see the positive results of our investment. Truth be told, it was an incredible help. Just then, FC America's star midfielder made a breakaway down the field. The crowd erupted into cheers as the ball was passed from player to player, each touch bringing it closer to the goal. Look, we're going to score! Predictable. They won't make it past the other team's defense. As if on cue, Real Montaclar's defense made a crucial block, sending the ball back down the field. With such skills, you should be a football coach, Colonel. Don't make me laugh. Alfonso turned to me. How about you, Mr. Rain? It's been a while since we last met. Is everything going well at the palace? It would be a lie if I said it's been great. I completely understand what you mean. Suddenly, a huge roar shook the stadium. The crowd was in a frenzy as FC America finally got the ball past dominating Rizian defenders. Considering that Romberg is actively pushing for war, you seem to be composed and calm, Mr. Rain. Don't worry, it's under control. Everything will fall into place soon. Don't worry, it's under control. Everything will fall into place soon. Just then, Montaclar midfielders executed an incredibly fast counter-attack, scoring a goal that put them ahead in just a few seconds. Towards the side of the stadium fell completely silent. It was bad luck getting a top-tier Rizian team as our opponent. I would still applaud our guys for giving their best. Not even FC Gelsword has ever come this far in an international tournament. Yes, football is like politics. Sometimes it's all about luck. It's not about luck, it's about money. Sadly, money is still the only thing you care about. The only noise that could be heard from the stadium was shouting from the Rizian side. Montaclar! All eyes were glued to the scoreboard as the new score appeared. FC Enrica 0, Real Montaclar 1. From that moment on, we turned our complete attention to the match in front of us. Rizian players kept dominating the field. The referee blew the whistle. It was half time. That was rough. We heard a noise from above us. A zipline was flying over the stadium, with a giant poster hanging beneath it. I noticed that it was an advertisement for the Alfonso Foundation. In the center of the poster stood Ewald Alfonso portrayed with a warm smile and a twinkle in his eye. In his outstretched hand, he held a whimsical compass glowing with a soft golden light. Surrounding him were people from all walks of life and cultures. The tagline, written in elegant and uplifting typography, was prominently displayed at the bottom. Alfonso Foundation, bringing hope to those in need, one act of kindness at a time. Well, that's new. Wait, there's more. Just then, the speakers in the stadium started playing a sound recording in full volume. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring you a message from the Alfonso Foundation, dedicated to spreading kindness and hope to the less fortunate. Picture a Soarland where compassion shines brighter than the stars in the night sky, where the power of generosity uplifts those who need it most, that Soarland can exist thanks to the Alfonso Foundation. Led by the charismatic and esteemed President Awad Alfonso, this foundation is on a mission to make a difference in the lives of our fellow citizens, one act of kindness at a time. You call this kindness? Every soldier's friend you donate to the Alfonso Foundation helps us provide shelter, food, and chance for a bright future to those without a home, without hope. Thanks to the donations of President Eduardo Alfonso and thousands of citizens, the Alfonso Foundation has already lifted hundreds out of homelessness. By the way, this is the first time I see this event. A couple of hundred people? Congratulations to you both. This is how Stone will eradicate poverty. Want to join us in this noble endeavor? Just call the number to make our contribution today. Your support will help us extend a helping hand to those in need. The recording ended with a few seconds of upbeat jazzy background music that slowly faded out. It's good to see that you're at least helping the poor in some way. That's commendable. I'll be honest, I think that ad was a little distasteful. I beg to differ. Alfonso, are you not ashamed? Instead of planning a proper affordable housing program, you are spending your time with crap like this. Is this your way of personal redemption? Spending a few rands out of your billions and portraying yourself as their savior? Unlike you, Mr. Soul, I'm not portraying myself as a hero here. I retired from politics just like you did. Now I'm now using my clout to help the poor. What's so wrong about this? You know, I never called myself a hero, Walt. It was my supporters who portrayed me as one. Don't spin the truth. Maybe they didn't have any other choice back then. Is that even true, Mr. Saul? Are you really denying that you did nothing to construct a cult of personality? I didn't need to build a cult for myself, Miss Rain. I built a republic. You rebuilt it in your own vision. Dark and Soul locked his gaze at Owl. Are you still sore about the party giving you a hard time after I left? Admit it. Owl, you never could accept being a less popular leader, but yet living under the shadow of what I built. It is true, I did hate working inside your shadow empire, but I succeeded in dismantling a lot of those obstacles you laid out for me, and opened the way for reforms, but you never let the party go free. So it was I who controlled each and every member? I was behind your every problem you faced within the USB? Do you really believe that? You are the founder of the party, Mr. Soul. Don't even try to deny your influence over it. I still remember how the party became divided after you stopped supporting me. It is on them for being blind to the progress we were making. Soul still make up the bulk of the USB today. Everybody is aware of your influence, Mr. Soul. Instead of blaming the party, why don't you take a look at yourselves? That same party has voted me out on their own volition in preference to the likes of you. According to you, their only correct decision must have been to elect you as leader, and the rest are completely wrong. You think everything is a problem that is specifically created to block you? Take a look at yourself. You are the personification of what you're trying to criticize. You have a point, Mr. Soul, but don't act like you're above all of us. He waved a dismissive hand, as if to brush away the notion. Suddenly, we turned our heads to the field as the mass approached through the stadium. The second half was already in full swing and American players were aggressively attacking, weaving in and out of defenders with speed. Suddenly, the ball was passed to the famous soldier striker, Hakon Slater, who was in front of the goal. I noticed Sol shifting in his seat, his gaze suddenly locked on the field. The Scottish crowd went crazy as Latter's powerful shot brought the ball to the back of the Rizian net. Yes! He all jumped from his seat. Suddenly, the cheering was interrupted by the linesman raising the flag, making an offside call. Bullshit, that wasn't an offside. Do you think the Rizians could have bought the referees? Well, they have the prestige and the money to do that. Halt your endless bickering. The linesman made the right call. The angle was all wrong. A decision like that shouldn't be made without proper evaluation. What next? You're going to install cameras and analyze every position from different angles? I mean, the excitement in the statement reached a fever pitch as the Swordfish striker dribbled the ball past two defenders and took a shot at the goal again. The crowd held its breath as the ball sailed through the air, but the Montaclar goalkeeper made a miraculous save. Damn, that was close. Suddenly pointing to a group of people who were holding signs in the front row. Do you see that? It was a group of Frisians who were holding signs in the Swedish language. No to war in Morkopa, peace between Ramberg and Sorland. Looks like Frisians are also scared of a possible world war between us and Ramberg. The Toras family is a puppet of Queen Livingstone. If the Queen wants war, Frisians will follow them. Do you think Grizia would aid Ramberg in a war with us? Suddenly a wave of shouting made us focus back on the field. A player was shown a yellow card. With only a few minutes left on the clock, it looked as though the match would end with a 1-0 loss from FC Andrika. But suddenly, everything changed. Number 10 of Real Montaclar dribbled expertly towards the goal and effortlessly scored. And as Andrikan defenders watched him and shout, "Fuck you, you it." He watched in silence as the scoreboard was modified. The Parisian side broke into massive applause and the referee blew the final whistle. Well then, settles it. Should go down and console the boys. He left the lounge and then downstairs to congratulate the team for their efforts. Well, Alliance of Nations Assembly meeting. Here we will have to do our best to get Rumberg sanctioned to hell and back. So, shall we? First of all, I need to see the quality of my stream. The Steam health is excellent. I am enjoying that. Alliance of Nations Assembly meeting. I, David Whiskey, and the rest of the Swedish delegation to the Allied Nations arrived in Kirut. The local police escorted us to the Alliance's headquarters in downtown Constantinium, immediately recognizable by its gleaming dome. On entering the building, we were met by a parliamentary guide who briefed us about the procedures. Excuse me. After a strict security screening, the staff ushered us to the third floor. We entered the massive circular assembly hall, took our designated seats. David sat next to me. All of the world's most powerful people are under one gleaming dome. I'm glad to be among them. Everyone's words and actions here will change the world for better or worse. How are you feeling, Anton? Being the subject of such media attention must take a toll on you and the family. We knew changing Solent would be hard, but we could never have expected it. It comes with a job. Monica and I already came to terms with the risk after the inauguration ball. It is tough to be the president, making harsh decisions and dealing with their consequences. The consequences! My money! There's a dent in my fucking pocket! I wish I could have supported you more, but time has been a cruel mistress. What you have done so far is more than enough. Don't treat yourself so harshly. From a distance, we could see the President of the General Assembly, Mr. Nines, approaching his designated position. Well, the session is about to start. Let's get comfortable. It's going to be a long day. Mr. Nines opened the session with a short speech and called the first speaker to the floor. It is my great pleasure to invite the Prime Minister of Lesbia to address the Assembly. Patricio Alvarez, the Shah of Iran, stood and walked up to the podium as the Assembly applauded. Mr. President, it is my pleasure to return to this podium. David leaned in and spoke in a low voice. Let's see how crazy this year's session will get. I'm surprised he isn't drunk, David chuckled. When I last spoke here, the message I gave was of encouragement and support to this organization and the vital role it plays. For the challenges Eastern Maricopa and the whole world has faced since then, one has grown larger and more imminent than any further. The threat of the so-called socialist states and the actions taken by their authoritarian rulers with no regard to international law. A loud noise came from the table of Voxland. I saw Emmerich Hegel pounding his fist on the table in protest. Looks like the Chancellor is already mad, David nodded. Today, the need to come together as the leader of the free world is more important than ever. The CSB, under the leadership of United Contana, has been fueling Voxland military-industrial complex and the expansionist aims in Eastern Maricopa. The world turned a blind eye when the armies of Voxland occupied Hellenland, and they did not stop there. According to our intelligence reports, United Contana nuclear missiles were quickly deployed to the island. He pulled out a photograph, even though it was hard to see from my position, recognizing it as an aerial image of Helena. We demand that the Chancellor speak the truth. As you can all see, we have evidence of the constitutional destruction of silence. I think that's true. Honestly, this was always likely to happen, but so soon after the occupation, I didn't expect that. David looked concerned. No Eastern Maricopa nation can accept the installation of weapons of mass destruction in the middle of our Marken Sea. Emmerich Hegel stood up and kept pounding his fists. We hereby call for the immediate dismantling and withdrawal of all missiles and other offensive weapons from Helena. We invite all the members of states to support our call for a resolution in accordance with Article 11 of the Falenco Treaty. A lot of noise came from the assembly hall in response. Most of the Western Maricopan delegates were clapping, where others either shouted in protest or sat in stone silence. Let us also not forget, Annex them. Well, I wish I can. They fucking sanctioned me, by the way, those lesbian bastards. Hey there, Sparky, what's up? Let us also not forget about the recent events that transpired in another state with socialist teaching. A state that wages war against its own innocent citizens, Welland. Right, innocent citizens, against the violence of the BFT. That's a bunch of bullshit. Welland's not even socialist. Strictly speaking, Smolak's party is called the Wessex Nationalist Party of Purist Socialism. Their purge of the minorities in their country was, again, largely ignored by the international community. I would go as far as to call it a genocide. Welland violated our past treaties and mobilized their armed forces, deploying them close to our borders and authorizing them to partake in massacres. The SPA was offered not only by the large was affected not only by the large wave of refugees coming from Welland, but by the subsequent government seizure of all of our companies that were active in the country. We hereby call the member states to action against Welland and its rogue government. Thank you. I did not react to his speech. He walked back to his seat amidst enthusiastic applause from most of the Maricopan delegates. President Nines awaited for the noise to calm down and invited the next speaker, the president of Welland, Dr. Smolak. Smolak stood up as he walked past Patricio Alvarez. He brushed him aside with an exaggerated sweep of his arm. When he reached the podium, he fumbled with the microphone for a few seconds, then he smiled at Alvarez mockingly as he raised the height of it. Oh my god! Oh my god, he pulled off. I got the mic now, little bro. I think the real chaos will start now. Let's hope not. Victor turned to President Nines and bowed slightly. Mr. President? He then turned back at us and stared out into the hall for a few seconds. Fellow delegates, it is true that the world today faces a multitude of challenges. In the midst of these challenges, the world's most powerful leaders gather here in Kirut. And what do? They make threats, promote hate, and spread lies. Is this the alliance of nations we all want? What is the cooperation and friendship? What is the unity? I want to remind you of the wars that the West fought on our soil, with the foreign troops who occupied our country and seized our valuable resources. I want to remind you how they stole the oil from our sacred soil, and they did not know when to stop. The ATO soldiers left, but their interference never ceased. They financed armed rebel groups whose only purpose is to create terror inside our country. To fellow delegates, don't you dare speak about Wellen before you acknowledge your involvement in our civil war, before you acknowledge your own dark past. He is not entirely wrong. It's true that the Western powers had their hands in the Wellen Civil War, but it doesn't justify the operation. Sorry, you already know my take on dealing with him. As is well known, after the tremendous tragedy of the Wellen Civil War, Acacia made a deal with United Fontana, where they agreed upon the withdrawal of their troops along with the removal of half our army. Not only did they weaken us, we were left alone in facing the genocidal Bloodish Freedom Front which the ATO funds together with Rumberg. Just like the delegate before me, I will show you some of the evidence of foreign interference. He picked up a large stack of papers and waved them back and forth. I have clear evidence of direct aid from Rumberg to the Bloodish Freedom Front. They smuggled tons of KA-74s in Wellen. They smuggled in their spies, smuggled in mercenary commanders. It's funny talking about it. We're not the only ones now, so it seems. These documents will be published everywhere. Copies have already been sent to the investigative affairs of the Alliance of Nations. I expect this organization to do its task to investigate this properly, instead of leaving Wellen behind as they always done. Coming back to the claims of the lesbian representative, first, there is no evidence of civilian massacres by the Wazak forces, nor so-called purges of minorities. Second, the operation was limited only to the militant BFF, not the Bloods in general. Third, we know your government is also implicated in the funding of the BFF, and that your oil companies aided their militants during the operation. Fourth, as the state, we only took what is ours. The companies the delegates spoke of were not only aiding militants, they were brought to Wellen by force. Know that Wellen will no longer recognize the right of any other country to determine what type of weapons we are permitted to possess or what type of policies we follow within our borders. Wellen stands stronger and more united than ever. Our people have spoken. The enemies inside our borders are crushed. Oh, my neck hurts. Now I ask every delegate here to read our report on the connections of the West with the armed militants in Eastern Mercopa, and I ask the Alliance of Nations to do what's right. Wellen only wants peace. Our people want peace. They are counting on the support, understanding of all the nations of the world. Their proclamation is Free Wellen or Death. The assembly roared with particularly loud applause coming from the seats of Rican nations. Seems to be popular with Rika, doesn't he? Well, he played the victim here pretty strongly. His anti-imperial stance was definitely earned him sympathy from Ricans. Most of that continent has still not achieved stability after gaining their independence from their colonial suzerains. It's easy to forget it has only been a few years since the revolutions. Suzerains. What is suzerains? It's the name of the game. A sovereign or state having some control over another state is internally autonomous. Okay. So basically an occupation. Alright. Victor slowly walked back to his seat as he applauded himself. He saluted the Rican delegates as he passed them. Next, President Nines invited Martin van Horten to the podium. He walked up to the microphone with quick steps. He was frowning and clenching his fist. I could almost see his jaw trembling. Seems like Martin is not in the mood. Can you blame him? Falkland just occupied hell. Mr. President, fellow delegates of the Assembly and friends, it is an honor to be with you today. I wish we could meet under different circumstances. Once again, the CSP nations, and in particular Vogsland, have shown us what they're willing to do to achieve their political aims. I must sadly say that the world has left us alone. We were one of the first countries to propose proper cooperation among Eastern Mercopan nations. Yet, when we were threatened by Vogsland expansionists, nobody came to our side. Although Mr. Alvarez voiced his indirect support for us earlier in today's session, I can't help myself from wondering where he was when our lands were under invasion by the very socialists he spoke about. So here I am asking for the support of the fellow member states of the Alliance of Nations, acknowledging as under attack by Foxland. Loud banging noise emerged from the table of Foxlandian delegates. All of them were pounding their fists on their table. I kept watching. Mr. President, please moderate the assembly. This is more than disrespectful. Emmerich Hegel began shouting curses as Nines repeatedly banged his gavel for order. After a minute of back and forth shouting, the noise settled and Nines allowed Martin to continue. As you all know, Helluland, which had been a territory of Agnolia for more than 3 decades, was invaded by Volksland in a sudden attack. Not only did they unlawfully occupy our land, they brought nuclear missiles to the island the moment our forces retreated. In the midst of all of this conflict, Solland gave its support to Volksland and even aided their fleet with the invasion. With the intelligence and supply aid from Solland, Volksland's forces now roaming our seas, Millennialist terror surrounds us on all sides. We must not falter, and invite all member states to find a resolution in accordance with Article 11 of the Falenko Treaty, enforcing the immediate dismantling of all missiles from Helluland. I must also remind you that under Article 3 of the Ventry City Treaty, the Alliance of Nations must ensure the withdrawal of all of the occupying force from the island. I call the democratic world to action against the tyranny of millennialism, authoritarianism, militarism, and extremism. The banging noise started again. Hegel stood up and approached the rostrum. You are a spineless jerk, a lackey of Arcasian imperialism. President Nines called for silence and started hitting the gavel. Look at the old man go. All of your complaints against us are a direct result of your capitalist and neo-colonialist systems. President Nice, please, what is this? President Nice smacked his gavel in vain as a shouting match broke out in the assembly. Finally, after a few minutes, the other Foxlandian delegates convinced Hegel to sit back down. I believe I don't need to speak more about this subject, everything is clear as day. Mr. Hegel's actions speak volumes about the reality of Foxland and their corrupted ideology. I hope to see this conflict resolved with the help of the Alliance of Nations soon. Quickly left the podium and nodded to the other Agnolian delegate. The two left the assembly hall. President Nines announced the next speaker, Emmerich Hegel. Hegel immediately took his place and spoke in a low, soothing tone. Thank you. David, buckle up, it's the Chancellor's time now. Looks like you're having fun, Mr. President. First of all, I want to extend a due welcome to the new states from Rica that have joined this organization. After fighting for years against colonialism and imperialism, they more than earned our membership vote. I am overjoyed to see them finally represented in this assembly. As our numbers grow and more states are represented in this stage, we come ever closer to finding resolutions to the conflicts that plague us. For hundreds of years, the dominant economies of Mercopa raised, pillaged, and exploited the continents of Rica and Zena. Sadly, Volksland was also part of this plunder in the years before the revolution, when it still clung to the idea of imperialism. But when our masses found their voice, the old colonial powers and their new financiers turned against them. These powers did whatever they could to hamper our revolutions. They did not want the people to be heard. They are scared of us for showing the possibility of a better path. Of course, they don't want us to succeed. They threaten productivity that runs on the blood and sweat of the working class. And now they have started labeling us the aggressors. Yet we all know it was the Arcasians who built up military bases all around Mercopa. It was the ATO that first formed the fight against millennialism. Honestly, he's completely right. Do you think so? He's not entirely wrong. Helluland was, is, and will be Voxladian territory. Our intervention in the island was completely justified. Other delegates brought up the Falenco and Ventry City treaties. However, they are forgetting about the Treaty of Constantium. Foxland exercised its right to intervene on behalf of our people, who were being oppressed and massacred by the Agnolian government just because they did not recognize an appointed governor. They didn't get to elect one. We acted in full accordance with the second article of the treaty. If there is a side to be blamed, it is the state which murders its minorities for publicly showing support to our nation. There are also claims about illegal missiles. No country in the world has the right to determine what type of weapons we import. If there's a conflict the Alliance can resolve, let's start with the Arcasian base on Ravnos Island. Lesbia has been housing Arcasian troops, and missiles by our border for years, and none of the member states even talked about it. I also want the member states to look into the Arcasian base in Lesbia, and if the Alliance of Nations truly claim to have the people's best interests at heart, they cannot stay silent about what the Agnolian government did in Helluland, how they took away the rights of our people. Perhaps then there can be proper dialogue between our nations, and the Alliance of Nations can finally demonstrate that it can serve its intended purpose. But unfortunately, the Alliance of Nations remain all too willing to overlook such human rights violations. However, the Icelandic government is ready as always to fight the forces of oppression and colonial servitude on behalf of free people everywhere. He raised his left fist. Revolten Westcor. Was that sort of catch that right? He said the revolution will come. Yes, but it was in Old Volgish. Yes, but it is in Old Volgish. Very similar to Swedish, right? Some words are even written the same way. So I'm surprised you got that from his accent. Most of the delegates from Zena, Enrica, and Contana responded with thunderous applause. Michael shook hands with them as he walked back to his seat. President Nines announced the next speaker, being Beatrice Livingstone. Dear President of the Assembly, the delegates, the leaders of the world. Just as my fellow Eastern Mercopan delegates spoke about the troubles plaguing our continent, I also have to bring attention to the plight of the people of the North. The Alliance of Nations, the ATO, the ACSP, and even the OMEC have never supported our people when they've been through tragic atrocities. Unlike many of the Western countries here, we never received financial aid when natural disasters struck our lands. The pain of our people was never recognized, not even when they faced the threat of genocide by the hands of the Swordfish kings. In light of all that, I implore this alliance to take a closer look at the actions of our southern neighbors. They took in traitors and gave them protection. The president himself came to power amid murder and arrest. The people from his administration had the guts to blame our government for inciting violence, and they expect the world to believe their lies. I can't let her speak about us like that. Let's first hear her out. Shoreland closed their borders to innocent Bloodish people fleeing from being massacred by the Wessex forces. They even supported and cooperated with Welland in their ethnic war against the Bloodish people. On top of all of that, Solent even aided the illegal occupation of Helluland by Volksland. They are increasing their military presence rapidly to further their dark aims. I hereby invite all of you to determine the initiation of a proper intergovernmental investigation into Solent. If the alliance continues to shirk its given duties, you can trust Trumberg to take matters into their own hands. It's also important to point out that Trumberg will not stand idly if more Contanan and Arcasian military are transferred to Eastern Mercopa. I hereby condemn both the CSP and ATO for trying to influence our region with their military power. Before I finish, I also want to say, Mr. Smolak, I'm looking forward to reading your report. I wonder what this so-called evidence is all about. Know that your slander does not work on us. Know that we are ready to die for our freedom. Know that our kingdom stands firm and strong. Expect a grand awakening. Thank you. Grand awakening? That sounded like a threat. She left the rostrum without getting much applause. The President Nine spoke my name. Mr. Anton Rain, President of Solent, I invite you to address the assembly. David immediately started applauding. Good luck, Mr. President. I walked up to the rostrum and took my place at the podium. In front of me were some of the most powerful leaders in the entire world. I looked them in the eyes. Thank you, Mr. President. Fellow delegates. Everybody who attends this rostrum must appreciate what a significant gathering is addressing. Must remain devoted to a dream of a peaceful and free world, a united world. Our world is faced with dangers and division, the dangers of large military alliances and nuclear arms races. Now it's more. Now it is more important than ever to set aside our differences and unite under this charter. Now I'd like to address some of the topics mentioned here today. It was earlier claimed that Wellen was involved in a genocide. Such strong words shouldn't be spoken without proper evidence. Oh fuck. We are deeply saddened by the tragic events that took place in Wellen. Let's go with the first one. Tolan stands together with the Wezek people. Also would like to respond to Mr. Van Hoort. I would also like to address the Queen of Ramburg. She talked about some hypothetical threat that our nation possesses to Episcopa, where Ramburg's military has tripled in the last decade. She talked about some hypothetical threat that our nation poses to Eastern Maricopa, where Ramburg's military has tripled in the last decade. But to be diplomatic, even when Ramburg shot down our plane. I also have some evidence to show to the assembly Mr. Smolak was right about PKA 74s. We discovered that many militant groups in Sorland were being financed or owned by Ramburg. There is another important piece of evidence that we have, provided us by someone close to the Ramburgian government. Sir Haystone was branded as a traitor in Ramburg for blowing the whistle of the country's hidden nuclear facilities. According to our reports, Ramburg has been building its own nuclear weaponry. I hereby call on the Alliance of Nations to serve its duty. Ramburg and its nuclear facilities must be properly investigated. Thank you for listening to our concerns. I wish to see a resolution from the AN soon. We stand and always will stand for the rights of the people of Solent and Eastern Maricopa, just as those in other continents. Long live the Alliance of Nations. Long live unity and peace. Peace in Maricopa. Peace in the world. Basically, peace at home, peace in the world. That's like a not Turk thing. There was some applause from the assembly. I raised my fist before I left the podium. I walked back to my seat. David did not stop applauding until I sat down. How was it? It was not a bad speech, Mr. President. You did well. President Nines announced the next Dwight Walker. Announced the next speaker, Dwight Walker. Mr. President, I first want to congratulate you on your election to this high office. Mr. Secretary, delegates of the Alliance of Nations, ladies and gentlemen, fellow friends, we meet again on our quest to bring peace and light into this world. But even though some of the clouds have lifted, the world has not yet escaped the darkness. The Contana Security Pact is rapidly expanding its influence. It is very troubling to see a democratic nation of Maricopa be invaded by those Malenivist powers. I refer, of course, to Holy Land's occupation by Volksland. It is an attack against the lasting peace the world has enjoyed since the century of revolutions. Today, our peacekeeping obligations are being tested by United Contana and the Malenivist bloc. If we fail to counter and stop this threat, if we stay idle and allow them to build new walls and weaponries of hostility, the attackers do not face any consequences, then this unstable peace we believed we had built will be the world's downfall, and prosperity will point its fingers at us for not stopping it. And posterity, sorry. Emmerich Hegel and the other Volkswagen delegates started making noise again. This time Hegel had taken off his shoe and I was banging on the table with it. I have no words. Chancellor has gone mad. It's getting ridiculous. He's not even ashamed of his age. Despite its claims, the CSP's actions will only bring about war. We believed United Contana and Arcasia, together with their allies, could come to an understanding for our mutual benefit and our desire to avoid the destruction of the world. Yet United Contana keeps acting in complete disregard to international law. Their allies are forcefully taking land and imposing their own values on the people of those lands. I will say this to the leaders of United Contana. If either of us is to be secure, we need a peaceful cooperation, not nuclear missiles, shows of naval superiority or invasions. If the leaders of United Contana fail to demilitarize Helluland with complete dismantling of the nuclear missiles and the withdrawal of the occupying Vaxlantian forces, the ATO will have to take matters into our own hands. Hegel stood up with the shoe in his hand. What is that supposed to mean? You're promoting war in the alliance of nations? Mr. President, this cannot. Lion slammed the gavel down and shouted, Silence, please. Mr. Chancellor, please let me finish. We did not interrupt you when you addressed the Assembly. Finally, I propose that the Alliance of Nations undertake the noble cause of helping the people of the world through rewriting and prosperity enforcing its Human Rights Declaration. The Assembly of Nations cannot survive as a steady organization. Its size and duties are increasing enormously. It should adapt to the changing world. But peace and rights do not rest in the hands of the organization alone. They rely on the hearts of people and the spirit of cooperation between our nations. So let it be known, my fellow inhabitants of this world, let us take our stand and see if we can finally achieve a lasting peace. Thank you. Most of the Assembly applauded his speech, the ATO delegates in particular. That speech had very dangerous connotations to it. Yes, I hope we won't be seeing a direct war between superpowers anytime soon. That would be the destruction of the planet. The applause continued for some time. Walker shook hands with various delegates on his way back to his seat. President Nines announced the last speaker for the break. It was Leon Maleniev. Maleniev slowly walked to the rostrum in his iconic suit. All the CSP delegates stood up and applauded him. Honorable Chairman and fellow delegates of the Alliance of Nations, here we are again at the most esteemed meeting of state representatives of the world. However, increasingly, we are being threatened, disregarded, attacked, or ignored in this assembly. The representative of Arcasia has just shown some friendly attitude towards us yet again. Arcasia would have you believe that we are standing in the way of lasting peace, yet the peace they talk about was only possible thanks to our missiles and our growing base in the developing world. The ATO kept waging wars against people's revolutions and forcing new independent states to be their puppets, binding them to themselves, the Arcasian leader. And now yet another Arcasian president is telling us that we are the aggressors and they are the keepers of peace. We will not be silent anymore against these lies. When was peace to talk about? Where was the cooperation between our countries? Have you ever accepted our invitation to talk about denuclearization? If you don't like us, don't accept our deals, don't listen to our concerns, and keep pointing fingers at us, why did you invite us to the Alliance of Nations? Every year, United Contana comes to this assembly to address the real problems of real people, people who suffer because of your systems, your wars, and your ignorance. Whether you like it or not, we'll keep representing the laborers, the slaves, the oppressed of this world, and believe it or disregard it, history is on our side. We say to the representatives of capitalist countries, come and visit us. Come and see the revolution working in Contana. Show our continent to your people without distorting the reality. If you cannot do that, then you need not come. We believe socialism will triumph over capitalism in the end. Such is the logical conclusion of development of humankind. This time, lesbian delegates started laughing very loudly. Some other delegates booed. We kept watching. You can keep laughing, gentlemen. Communism will bury you. Suddenly, the laughing turned to shouting. If you really believe in cooperation, we'll be waiting. We're not going anywhere. However, if the ATO keeps intervening in our matters, it is natural that the ESP would react. Despite threats from the ATO, Rumberg, or any other nation or organization, we must not succumb to further divisions and violence. We must ask ourselves, what do the people of our countries expect of us? They surely don't want war and bloodshed. So let us leave to our children and grandchildren good memories of our time and a better future for all. Let them look at history and say, once there were great divisions and complex problems, but the leaders of the world came together in the Alliance of Nations, succeeded in settling them in order to ensure our peaceful lives. Let us react in such a way to make this session not a session of threats, but a session of hopes and the realization of them. The government of United Montana and the United Peoples of Montana are all ready to serve the duties of world peace. Long live the People's Revolution! That was a great speech. I'm just very concerned about the rising tensions between them and Arcasia. The assembly broke into massive applause. The applause continued for some time. Melania slowly walked back to his seat as the president announced a break. That was a lot. It was troubling, tensions are too high. It's quite scary to be honest. We need to be careful. We walked out of the hall to have some lunch and fresh air. Holy fucking shit. That was a long ass fucking event. ATO grants a guard observer states addressing drug trade. Wait, what? Ah, fuck. I missed out on it. CSP warns Grace against formation of anti-millennial union. Election poll results. With the election drawing near, our staff at the Maroon Palace has conducted general election polls across Scotland. Our election polls show that roughly 60% of such citizens would vote for the USB in the upcoming elections. Fuck. Missiles on Heliland. Lesbia shows evidence of Vox landing missiles on Heliland. Shannon Hegel's disgrace at all at the Alliance of Nations. But what about the fucking nuclear weapons? Phone call with Queen of Rumberg. I was in my office waiting for the call that could potentially change the future of Mr. Copa. Phone started ringing. I took a deep breath as I held it to my ear. I heard the voice of Queen of Rumberg from the other side. Mr. Rain, how pleasing it is to finally get a chance to speak with you in person. I am Queen Beatrice Livingstone, the Queen of the Four Corners of Percopa, defender of Castle Tsar Pro, conqueror of the Tranquil Sea, stout protector of the ancient lands of Ram, descendant of the most honorable King Edward the First and the ruler of Rumberg. It's very nice to finally talk to you as well. Excellent. Now, given circumstances, I never thought I would be giving you a personal phone call, yet here we are. Even after that Solent has done, I am showing you my willingness to talk instead of cutting off communication. You are so kind and generous. I assure you there is no need for sarcasm, Mr. Rain. Please listen to me carefully. This is your last chance. I am offering you a peaceful way out of your dire situation. My demands are simple. You will give us control of our stolen ancestral homelands, Estor and Narbel. Those cities are surely of lesser importance to you, judging by the way your country has treated them. That's all I ask. If you fail to comply, to put it simply, we will take them by force. A war, Mr. Rain. Fuck, fuck, fuck. I don't know how to win a war. So please, I beg you to have reason. Think of your citizens. Think of your people. Do not enter a war that you have no chance of winning. You must be out of your mind if you thought I would give in to your threats. A pity, really. At least my conscience is clear. I have given you a chance and you refused. You have failed your people. War it is then, Mr. Rain. You regret your decision until your last breath. Line dropped dead. Just like that, the Ramberg War has begun. Well, fuck. 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 You know what? I think we're doing too much of a Nasserist run. We are entering a war with fucking Israel. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is horrible. This is fucking horrible. Alright, fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. This is a true Nasserist run now then. This is a true Nasserist run. We are at war. David had scheduled a private meeting with me, but he didn't specify what it was about. I heard a knock at the door. Mr. President, may I come in? Yes, David, please come in. Thank you. He slowly made his way towards the chair in front of my desk and sat down. First of all, thank you for your time. Anything for you, David. I wanted to ask you how you are doing. Looks like war is truly upon us. It must be taking a toll on you, just like it did on me all those years ago. But of course, I won't presume to understand what you are going through right now. I was never the leader of a nation during wartime, after all. Honestly, I am tired, David. I am tired of it all. Now we are entering late stage Nasser vibes. Oh, I know the feeling. Trust me, I know. Sometimes you just want to throw away all the responsibility and escape. Perhaps into the wilderness, perhaps into the sea. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But I could never do that. Unfortunately, men of power are bound by duty and their responsibility to the nation. He started coughing. It's a privilege for me. I had the chance to watch my student grow into a fine and strong leader in my lifetime. What a privilege indeed. You have brought reform to Sorland. You, my student, actually did it. You don't know how proud I was to be alongside you. It wouldn't be possible without you. You are too kind, Mr. President. David coughed again, this time for longer. I overheard a conversation the other day near a newspaper stand. It piqued my interest, so I kept listening. They were talking about you. They're calling you a die-hard millennialist. What do you think about that? I refuse to be called a millennialist. My father used to say, always know yourself. He stopped for a moment and took a quick look at his watch. So, the elections are fast approaching. How are you feeling about their chances? We will see. Uncertainty doesn't suit you, Mr. President. I'm afraid I have an announcement to make to you. An announcement? What kind? After the term is done, I'll be retiring. David, I can't accept it. You're irreplaceable in my cabinet. I have been in this line of work for many decades now. I swore an oath to myself years ago. I would quit if I ever felt like I didn't have the physical capability to serve anymore. At that point, I would become a hindrance. That time has come, Mr. President. My bones are aching, my hands are shaking, my voice is failing. Besides, I am sure you can find a younger minister who is a little more full of life. He winked at me and chuckled, which turned into another cough. You have been a mentor, a teacher, and a friend. Thank you for your service to this country. It was an honor, Mr. President. David stood up to leave. We hugged. Best of luck, Anton. Thank you. He turned around and left. Fuckety fuck fuck, we are at war. Women for Rain, yay! Vice President Galadi shines during campaign. Vice President Tushin Galadi has been hosting massive rallies trying to sway both the conservative and reformist voters while also trying to attract new undecided voters. Fortunately, the great and extraordinary oratory skills of the VP has led to many new voters to flock to the USP. The VP is shining while expanding the potential voter base. Lydia's craft challenged Danton Rain, Workers' Party coming strong, Trumbull possesses nuclear weapons. During the Alliance of Nations session, President Reyes has claimed that Trumbull possesses nuclear weapons. Today, the investigation committee taxed by the IN found evidence that President Rain was in fact saying the truth. Trumbull has nuclear weapons. So what does this mean for Eastern Maricopa? In the region, Trumbull has been one of the strongest military powers and also one of the most threatening, which secures them the position of being a key player. Possession of nuclear weapons by such a country not only threatens the neighbors and longtime rivals, Sorland, also nations that are farther away from their immediate reach. Trumbull's new status as a nuclear weapon will make them a force to be reckoned with. Balance of the world is about to change once again. Okay, I won't read this. Bosnia stands ready. The Democratic Republic of Bosnia hereby reiterates commitment to our alliance with Sorland Valentinian army stands ready to fight alongside our brothers, whatever may come. Soren wishes to call upon Valentine, we will answer. Hell yeah! Etio signs an aggression pact for 3 years with Andraka. Okay. World Revolution Manifesto, a revolutionary step. Okay. I won't read this. Agnolia puts forth bid to join the ATO. Existence of nuclear weapons in Rumberg confirmed. AN intelligence has confirmed that the information from the Rumbergian whistleblower was true. Rumberg does have nuclear weapons capable of threatening Solent and Eastern Mercopa. The United Nations ratified the barrage of sanctions on Rumberg by the member states. Fuck yeah! In light of the encroaching war with Rumberg, the USP Congress will not happen this year. President Anton Rein retains his position as party leader and represents United Solent as a presidential candidate in the coming election. Fuck yeah! Door opened and Lucian entered. Mr. President, there's a problem. What kind of problem? Some cabinet members said they wanted to speak to you. Fuck! They're in the white room. Please follow me. Start walking. Do you know what's it about? I was just told to come get you, sir. I opened the doors and we entered the white room. I looked around. Simon and Gus were seated. They looked at each other. What's going on here? Good evening. Good evening. Mr. President, we are here to let you know that we are handing you our resignations. Resignations? What is the meaning of this? Exactly what it looks like. We are resigning from our positions in the cabinet. We have our own reasons, but we simply cannot go on anymore after what happened. But why? What are your reasons? I suppose we owe you an explanation. I have failed my mission as the Minister of Economy. During our term, instead of stopping the recession, we have made it even worse and entered the Swedish Depression. I blame myself for this. I couldn't offer you a better solution. I have proven that I am unfit to serve as the Minister of Economy in Sorland. I will resign at the end of our term. Please don't do this, Simon. I am to blame, not you. I'm afraid things are already in motion, Mr. President. I shouldn't have said that. Mr. President. I must say I have been a minister for a very long time now. I have to look into other ventures in life and spend some time with my family. It's been a long time since I reconnected with them. I was very happy to be part of the team you have created. I will be handing you my resignation at the end of our term. Thank you, Gus. It was nice to have you here. Thank you, Mr. President. It was nice to work with you. I took a deep breath. I looked at their determined faces. I have no choice but to accept your resignations. The ministers left and I took a seat alone in the white room. Simon had failed his job and could always be replaced by another expert. His departure wouldn't be felt and the damage he had done won't be forgotten. Gus was nothing but a leech that survived on connections alone. People come and go. People come, people go, such is life. Alright? At least I still have the guys I like around me. Wave of resignation strike the administration, future of Rain's cabinet, resignations, who's on Rain's side now? Dinner at home. With the election looming and war on the horizon, I'd practically been sleeping in my office lately, but tonight I made a deliberate effort to get home early. I told Monica and Dina I wanted a family supper just like in the old days. Monica had promised to cook something special. I didn't know if it was my imagination, but there seemed to be more guards outside my complex than usual. I hurried past them, went inside and locked the front door behind me. I heard footsteps coming my way. Hi, Papa! And again, I'm gonna use the Mario voice for Dina. I opened my arms and embraced my daughter. She hugged me back happily. How was school today? Dina shrugged. I won a prize at the science fair. Honestly, I think they were teaching girls different stuff before because they knew we were smarter than boys. You might be right. Dina smiled. And Mama's in there. I've got to do some homework before dinner. I followed her with my eyes as she went upstairs. She was starting to look more and more like her mother. I stepped into the kitchen. Monica was stirring a pot on the stove, her back turned to me. I snuck up behind Monica and gave her a hug. She screamed and dropped her ladle. When she realized it was me, she smiled and gave me a kiss on the cheek. Sorry, Anton. Guess I've been on edge lately. Why don't you go fix yourself a drink in the living room? Let you know when dinner is ready. Sat down in the living room and poured myself a bit of whiskey and flipped through one of Monica's women's magazines. Took me a second to realize Monica herself was on the cover. Headline: Solon's Woman of the Year. Dina came rushing back down the stairs and made a beeline for the coffee table. She picked up her pencil case. Oh, almost forgot that. What do you hear from your brother these days? He doesn't recall home so much now that the troops are getting ready for war. Dina frowned. Papa, is Frank going to die fighting the Rummies? If he sacrificed himself for the sake of the country, that will be his decision. But, Monica appeared in the doorway. She smiled at the two of us. Dinner's ready. The three of us gathered around the dining room table. Monica labeled out bowls full of zabla. The stew tasted as good as it smelled. If I knew it would have come to this, I would have fucking put money in for the army. Now that we're all here, I wanted to say something. I know the past 4 years have been hard on all of us. And I haven't been there for either of you as much as I should have. Hope someday we'll be able to put this behind us and be a normal family again. Monica's eyes were shining. And we have plenty of time for that because I'm retiring from politics. Once the election's over, I'm taking you both on holiday. Monica sighed heavily. Anton, I think you should quit politics. Not just drop out of the election. Retire. I can't. I've come too far. With everything that's happened, I don't think you belong in government. And every day you stay there gives your opponents more chances to smear your reputation. Ours. They've been making fun of me at school because of you, Papa. Your being president hasn't been easy on us and any of us. Maybe you could go back to the way things were before. Sorry, Monica. I've got to keep going. For Sorland. Monica's lips formed a thin line. You never did know when to give up. Can we finish a dinner now? Of course. The three of us finished our food in silence. Once we had cleared our plates, I went up to my study. I still had work to do. The situation is bad. The ADO declares World Liberation Manifesto. Yay. Rumberg War Planning Meeting. Oh, my neck hurts. Oh, this is fucked, man. This is fucked. I arrived at the Ministry of Defense and entered the war room to discuss the war plans with the General Staff. I had never seen this room so packed with people. Every single top-ranking general and admiral in Solent was in attendance. Excuse me, in addition to the military officers, their assistants were spread out around the room. They stopped their chatter immediately and saluted me. Joseph was standing over the table, arranging tokens atop the unoversized map of Solent and Rumberg. He walked up to me and saluted. Mr. President? At ease, gentlemen. The general sat down and I took my seat at the head of the table. I took a look around. General Falcon nodded at me. Joseph stood and picked up an extendable pointer from a shelf on the wall. The chattering among the staff began again. Joseph extended the pointer and loudly hit the map on the table right in the center. Silence! The room immediately went quiet. Everyone had their attention on Joseph. He turned to me. Mr. President, may I begin? Please do. Very well. Everyone in this room has read the reports that the Queen of Rumburg is getting ready for a nationwide speech in 2 weeks. We have credible intel that she will be announcing a declaration of war against Sorland. The Rumburgian troop movements in the last 24 hours indicate that they are bolstering their frontline strength. The time has come. Mr. President, at this point, we are sure that they are preparing for a large-scale invasion. Have faith in our soldiers, we will persevere. Unfortunately, faith does not win wars, but soldiers with faith do, Yosef. How soon will they commence the attack? Judging from their movements and the insider information we have received, we have 2, maybe 3 weeks if we're lucky. There was a collective gasp from some of the general's assistants. How does our military strength compare to theirs? The estimates of our active military personnel at around 900,000 to 1 million. Meanwhile, we have approximately 250,000 soldiers on the ground. As for the Air Force, our estimates put the number of aircraft in their fleet at around 700. We have approximately 410 planes, of which 140 are state-of-the-art jets. Our fleet currently totals up to 60 ships and approximately 60,000 sailors. Fortunately, the main theater of this war will be on land, so their navy will be a limited impact. I predict that they are trying to block our seaports, reducing our trade and disrupting our supplies. Meanwhile, Rumberg has around 110 ships, and according to our latest intelligence reports, high-tech submarines as well. Regrettably, we don't have an estimate on how many submarines they have. The Queen has ensured their loyal submarines are under state secrecy, thus our intelligence officers are having a hard time spotting them. Overall, their numbers may seem superior, but I would like to remind everyone that wars are not won with numbers alone. Joseph glanced over at the generals and stopped at Falcon. He shook his head. Give it to me straight. What are the odds of success? Odds of success? Let me tell you something, Mr. President. Rumberg doesn't have any idea what or who they are dealing with. We will destroy their armies and send them back to whatever hellhole they came from. Some of the generals laughed. Rest assured, Mr. President, I am more than confident that we will win. I understand the situation. Good. Now we have to talk about our defensive strategy. Let's begin with our land forces. We currently have the 1st Army deployed at Estord to reinforce the border. This is the place they will most likely attack from. The 2nd Army is standing by at Laren at a possible assault from the north. The 6th Army is currently garrisoned at Narbil awaiting orders. Due to the potential of an invasion, both the armies have been undergoing rigorous drills, especially during the past few months. They are prepared to fight and die for their country, Mr. President. Will it be enough? It must be. There is something else I want to mention, Mr. President. Your son Frank is currently deployed at the Rumberg border. He is serving in the 1st Army as a private 1st class. I thought you should know. The entire room turned to me to hear what I should say. Thank you for letting me know, Yosef. My son is not better than everybody's other sons. If other people's children are going to die in this war, my son is not better than anybody else. I am not better than anybody else. No worries, Mr. President. Now let's start discussing our path to victory in this war. Our top strategic location is Thornbro, Rumberg's capital and the Queen's residence. Needless to say, if we manage to capture the Queen, the war will end. What if she flees Thornbro before we get there? I am a proud soldier of Solon, Mr. President. I'd rather die than give up also to invaders. And I know a prideful person when I see one. If we strike fast, we can capture the capital and the Queen before she comes to her senses. What are the chances of capturing the capital? There might be an opportunity to push for Thornbro after we capture Tsarboro. But we are ahead of ourselves. We get to that when we discuss the war plan. Can we still win without capturing the capital? If we can do that, it will become a war of attrition. Whether we can outlast them depends on our economy. Let's move on. What are the other objectives? Aside from Thornbro, the location that we must capture to even have a chance to win this war is Tsarbor. Tsarbor is the intersection of Rumberg's complex railway system. If we take it, we'll have more options on both the offensive and defensive. Our strategic location is Dome. Capturing Dome will prevent us from being surrounded and cut off from the east. It will also reduce the battle line we have to cover with our limited numbers. We do have allies that could aid us, but I see no point. We can fend them off easily. That's ridiculous. We can't fend them off alone. We need help. You are talking about fighting against 1 million men. 1 million! Very well, call our allies to the war. We have begun communication already. Now we can make it official. At any rate, this is what we are dealing with. Before Yosef could continue, a soldier walked in and handed him a note. Mr. President, David Whiskey has requested to join the war planning sessions. Let him in. As you wish. After the soldiers left the room, David slowly walked in. He fired off a round of salutes to the generals, then approached me. Mr. President, what are you doing here, my friend? I had a feeling my guidance might be needed. Anton, please allow me to assist in the war plans. David, you are a diplomat, not a general. Of course, I lack the military knowledge for our esteemed generals, but I do know people, Mr. President, especially our own people and our allies. Beneficial though our foreign partners may be, I would still advise you to keep a close eye on them. You're afraid that Hegel might backstab us? No, he wouldn't dare. International repercussions would be far too high. David gracefully motioned for Joseph to step aside. He was now at the head of the table. I'm sure that he will agree to fight by our side. However, depending on our plans and our past interaction with him, his commitment to the war may change. He has a point, Mr. President. It's worth keeping that in mind. This is exactly why we shouldn't involve them. Let us move on to our war strategy. I heard the sound of boots running down the hall. A soldier rushed in, urgently pulled Vulcan aside and whispered in his ear. Then his face turned white. He hurriedly straightened the labels on his uniform. Mr. President, it seems we will be joined by a very esteemed guest today. Who is it? Before Vulcan could answer, the door swung open. Every single man in the room immediately stood bolt upright and saluted. Colonel. Gentlemen? Tarkin's soul was dressed in his old uniform. The insignia of the 6th Army of the Swedish Armed Forces displayed prominently on his chest. An assistant scrambled to find him a chair. He put aside his cane and sat at the head of the table, while the rest of the room stood rigidly at attention. It is an honor to have you here at this time of need, sir. How can these old bones of mine rest while my beloved country goes to war? I salute him. I raise my hand in salute. Saul gave me a satisfactory nod. At ease, everyone. Don't think the colonel's war credentials need to be reiterated? Having him here would be of immense help to us, as well as a morale booster for our troops. I may not be as fit as I was during my last war, but I still remember how the game is played. Colonel, you're too humble. I'm looking forward to working with you, Colonel. So am I, Mr. President. You have shown great leadership in times of peace. Let us see how you act in times of war. Shall we get started? Hey! He said good thing about me in a time of peace. That's good. Certainly, sir. Joseph pushed for a moment before picking his pointer back up. Our first objective is taking Salzburg. Look, Attorney General. What are the plans to take Salzburg? There are 3 options on the table at the moment. One is to simply dig in and endure their first wave of attack, then retaliate after they are weakened. Our second option is to launch full-scale offensive on Salzburg. We will strike them hard and fast before they have the chance to draw first blood, which is insane in my opinion. Our third option is to do a pincer attack to wipe out their forces, then march towards Salzburg. In any case, our soldiers in the main armies are well drilled and prepared to carry out any strategy we choose. Though our armed forces have been reduced in size, they are well equipped for the war. Have you heard anything from our allies yet? The Chancellor of Falkland has sent us his regards. I have my own doubts about the Millennialists' commitment to the war. However, their massive navy enables interesting strategic options. I can ask them to transport their marine army to support us on our front. With their navy patrolling the Markin Sea, we can enjoy their protection from any Ramburg naval attacks. Another strategy is to entertain is to have them launch an amphibious landing on their army on Ramburg's eastern coast. This will create a new front away from their southern deployments, drawing the pressure away from our front. And if a few communists get killed in the process, so be it. However, we are still vulnerable to Ramburg's navy, especially their submarines. Let's hope our own naval forces are up to the task to protect the sea lanes. However, the Helgoland Island is still a problem for them. If our navy is not prepared to deter Agnolia from retaking the island, Vaxland might pull their troops back. How is digging in and waiting for them to attack a good option? When they launch their initial offensive, our soldiers and tanks will be entrenched in strategic and well-fortified positions. Let them throw their manpower at our impenetrable line of defense. We will grind down their armies that they are so proud of. With their pride shattered, their morale low, and their line disorganized, we will launch an all-out assault and strike the finishing blow. which makes no sense. You're handing them the time and motivation to come up with a plan to attack us. They outnumber us, Yosef. With this move, we will destroy or at worst limit the effectiveness of their advantage. We don't have the manpower to cover the entire border. We can always push the reservists forward to fill the gap in the battle line. They are untrained soldiers with little experience. We cannot rely on them to hold the line for long. Why can't we just launch an assault on Zarbor? If we choose an assault on Zarbor, our first step will be to have our bombers strike them from the front line, more precisely at strategic points on the path to Zarbor from Ostord. Then our tanks will come in and puncture their defense at in Krimzrad, up by our soldiers. After we penetrate their line, we will race for Zarbur, threatening an encirclement of their forces, which all sounds much easier than it is. Let me remind you that we are butting heads with an army far larger than ours. They can cover weaknesses in their line rapidly, which will leave our troops that are pushing through isolated. Our planes will bomb them to smithereens. With what air force? We'll be overwhelmed by Rumberg's planes and the moment they take off. Without air superiority, our troops will have a tough time on the field. So we don't have enough men, don't have an adequate air force. And Rumberg is planning an all-out invasion. Oh my god, this is the fucking 6-day war. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I need a moment. Oh my god, oh my god. Fuck, fuck. Say more about the pincer attack. We will feint an assault on Grimstad with the full intention of triggering the enemy. Casualties are expected to a certain extent so that Ramberg does not become suspicious of our real intentions. When they believe they are winning, they will push for Estord. With their confidence so high, they'll never expect the Second Army from the east and the Sixth Army from the west, which are holding their striking positions. At the moment they capture Estord, will pull the trigger. Our bombers will strike at the logistical hubs behind them, after which we will attack Estord from all three sides, destroying the enemy forces. While Manburg is recovering from its loss, Starburg will be ripe for the taking. That's the time for us to immediately launch a counter-offensive towards Starburg and take the city. Are you mad, General? Letting Rumberg's invaders into Sorland? Might as well invite the Queen to tea in Holsford while we're at it. Furthermore, our reservists are new soldiers. News of the initial defeat will damage their morale, which might collapse our eastern front in Agenland. That is why I advise us to remove monetary restriction. Fuck, 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 fuck. If it's not my, if it's not my decisions biting me in the ass later. Why don't we have the generals let them in? Maybe the defeat will raise the stake. Okay, so it's either going to be a mass retreat like the Egyptian army in 67, or it's going to be a last stand like the Lebanese resistance during the last war. Why don't we have the generals let them in on the strategy? And jeopardize the whole plan by having it leak to Romberg's spies? No, Mr. President, it is too risky. I'm confident that we will achieve complete victory with my strategy. I'm ready to choose our first move. I would suggest we do not strike Starbuck right away. General Kruger, your confidence and bold strategy are commendable, but a blunt, by-the-book approach like this will only work if our forces are equal in power. I apologize for my incompetence, sir. However unreliable our allies can be, they can cover our military weakness if we utilize our cooperation well. Looking at the plans that we have been proposed, I don't see a path to a victory by ourselves. What is your decision on the first phase, Mr. President? Okay, I dead ass need to Google that. Because I want to somewhat win this. How to win the Rumburg War. Let's see what we can do. Fuck. Like, I'd go with a pincer attack if I had a fucking professional army. Fuck. And I thought, fuck. This game is such a bullshit game. I swear to God. Swear to God. Hmm. This is the only way to win. I choose your strategy because it's easier and most consistent, at least for me. Also, I think so. This guide is focused on your strategy simply because reliability, quickness, this guide covers reliable method. Rule list. Well, there are many decisions you need to make. I could divide into four: funding and modernizing your military, gather strong allies. By allies, two is an ideal number. Do a little bit of diplomacy over alliance of nations. Finally, picking the right strategy to win. Here's the military. Yeah, that's not going to work. There's a video. I'll be back, and there's an 8-minute video I need to watch. I'll be back. I'll be back in a bit. Hold on. Let me watch this. Ah, fuck no, no. Okay, it's all the same plan. All methods to win the Rumberg War. Hmm, okay, okay. Let's say we don't have allies. Let's say we are beating Ramburg alone. Let's try. Oh, this is fucked up, man. This is fucked up. Come on, Google, just load the fuck up right now. I need answers, okay? I want to somewhat get out of this situation. Fuck, it's not loading. Fuck, 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 fuck. This is so much bullshit. This is such bullshit, man. Such bullshit. Okay, my internet connection is. Oh, for fuck's sake. Meeting Ramberg alone. Increase the military budgets, modernize the army as the war is mostly land. Get conscription for the increased manpower. I got the gendarmerie under military control. They know escort inside and out. Fuck. I went to the Spencer attack. I chose an attack directly after. Now, apparently, it was initially successful, but the Hungarian armies did a successful break out that smashed the encirclement and routed out forces. Lost the war because it was confirmed by the depths. I tried that and failed. I chose the Pinster and go straight to Thornborough. The only change to this that I made was take Arcadia as aid, which helped start modernization of the Air Force even before I did give Lancia the order to modernize the Air Force. You absolutely got here, madman. I'll give you this a go. I'll give this a go today. It turns out you're right. I owe you a pint. Okay. I'm excited to tell you that you can definitely beat Ramberg alone, and I just did precisely that. However, it will not be easy. The current patch made military industry expansion more expensive. Anyway, make sure your economy is green just in case. Fuck, I don't have a green economy. Obviously, invest in the military. Fuck. Choose Air Force as the second option. Keep the gendarmerie and the military. Fuck. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. You know what? You know what? I think we are going heading towards a fucking disaster. You are heading towards a disaster, I say. Let's dig down and invite them to certain death. That's the only thing we can do. We can dig down, take the first attack, and weaken them. So we're doomed then. Decision is already made, Yosef. Turn to our allies then. Should we ask Voxland to assist us in Agelland? No, their armies would be more useful. Yes, we need to focus on that front. Joseph and I signed the plan documents for the first phase of the war and handed them off to the new soldier. So let's assume that this point we have Sarbo in our hands. This is just the first step. From this point on, it will be harder since we're going deep into hostile territory. I see two options for us to move forward. We can continue pushing toward Thornborough and capture the Queen, or we turn our attention towards Dome. We risk being flanked from the east with either strategy, but it's a risk we must take. Unfortunately, Agonat and Nargis will be mostly shut down due to the war happening at the border. Most businesses have already begun to flee the city of Flakaven, which is our primary trade hub. Thus, our economy will take a big hit to this fact. Our industrial production and trade lanes will be crucial at that point in the war. Our military production is an all-time low right now. We lack supplies in some units. Unfortunately, our trade volume is not enough to support the war effort. We'll have to rely on our own production. Any questions, Mr. President? What about our allies? If we choose to push towards Thornbow, it needs to be quick and decisive. It is unwise to take any of our allies with us. We can either have them stay and defend our flank in Zarborough or assault Dome. How would you take Thornbow? Thornbow. Whatever the fuck it is, the capital. After Zarbor is taken, the enemy will be in shock and their morale will be low, hence opening up as a brief window of opportunity for us to march towards Thornbow. 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 I fucking hate this name. However, if we hesitate for even a moment, this window will close. Even worse, then we will realize that we are overextended and will try to cut us off. This will leave the bulk of our army isolated in the cold north. As much as I want to crush Oranburgian hope by taking their capital, our doctrine does not include these kinds of rapid advances. To put our supply line will be stretched too thin, creating a weak point that can be exploited by the enemy. We can deploy our reserves in Zarbor to help with the defense there. Why can't you just defend Zarbor from this point on? That is out of the question, Mr. President. It will leave us out in the open and susceptible to a Ramberg-Windsor attack. They can strike us from all three directions, northwest and, of course, east from Dome. Elaborate on the strategy around Dome. Dome and Zarbor are excellently linked logistically. There is a railway between the two cities. This will aid us transporting military supplies and troops. We can easily launch an assault on Dome within half a week after taking Zarbor. With that said, control of the rail system is key because Ramberg can utilize it as well. If they can withstand our assault, they can launch a counter-offensive with ease from the direction of Dome to take Zarbor. We lose everything we have gained so far. However, with the capture of Dome, there will be no need to take Thornburg. It would be too late to attack anyway. Ramberg would either reinforce the southern defenses or the Queen would have come to her senses and flee the capital. Even if we manage to capture Thornburg, the capital without their Queen, we won't be able to hold it during the winter. Our supply line will be too stretched out for that. However, with two of the largest cities in our hand, we can lay out a defensive line, especially around Dome. They took it from Magnolia because of the oil fields surrounding it. That industrial sector has since heavily relied on them. With their oil supply cut, they won't have the fuel for their huge war machine, and their economy will slowly collapse. We will be effectively shocking them until they capitulate. But we have to consider the defenses in and around the city of Dome. Ever since they took it from Magnolia, they have been building up fortifications in case of a Magnolian attempt at taking the city. Furthermore, to the length of the operation to take Zarbor, they could come to the realization that Dome is our next target. There is no guarantee that we can take a well-reinforced and fortified city while holding the line at the western and the northern fronts. The reservists can be deployed in Zarbor to help with defenses. Your opinion, Colonel? Without sufficient production capacity or supplies to be produced through trade, our chances of victory seem slim. Your decision, Mr. President. We will march on their capital and end the war with a decisive strike. It is decided then. I'm warning you, if Ramberg listens to their well-trained officers, this plan will not work. I am adding it to our battle plan. Now let us decide on our allies' movements during this phase. Since Bogdan's army will be poised to act, where should we send them next? Let's have them guard our flanks. And that, gentlemen, is our plan against Ramberg. We only have one chance at victory. If we falter at any point during the war, it will be the end of Sorland as we know it. Mr. President, we will need your executive order to mobilize the forces. He handed me the order and waited for me to sign the document. Its title was Operation Fallen Crown. Sign off on it. I signed off on Operation Fallen Crown. That makes it official then. He turned to the generals in the room. We have work to do. Get back to your post immediately. The generals saluted and the war room dispersed to begin the preparations. Only 3 people were left in the room, me, David, and the colonel. David approached me. Win or lose, this will be my last great contribution to my country. Let's protect our republic, Anton. I will continue to do so until my last breath, David. David gave me a tired smile. He warmly shook my hand before moving towards the door. The colonel and I turned to face each other. Well, that make you proud? We shall see. Let's hope that the next time we meet it will be under a storage flag in Zarbor. God willing. Sol saluted me and then headed to the door. I stood there alone in the war room, looking at the map Solon laid out on the table. I picked up one of the little metal tokens on it and turned it over in my hand. It represented thousands of men who were willing to die for this country, for me, including my own son. I hoped I would not let them down. National Mobilization Order. Make love, not war. Rumberg prepares for an invasion. Lesbia urges calm. The Republic of Lesbia has reiterated commitment to the peace in Eastern Mercoba. Tensions between Rumberg and Solent have to be prevented to escalate further. We are strongly urging calm in the region. Wagner's army on its way. The Volgish officers joined with the Swedish military command to collaborate. These reports are indicating that their ships are on their way to blockade Rumberg's supplies. Marines began their preparations for additional military equipment is on its way to support the land troops facing Rumberg. Proclamation of War. In order to address the decades-long atrocities committed by Sorland once and for all, effective immediately, Her Majesty Queen Beatrice Livingstone declares that a state of war exists between the Kingdom of Rumberg and Sorland. Nationwide Mobilization Order. A nationwide mobilization order has been issued to enforce our manpower pool. New recruits will be mostly serving as reserves, but we will prepare for the worst case scenario. Approximately 1 million men have been recruited so far, and they will begin their artillery training immediately. But there is no time. Declaration of war against Rumberg. I was standing at the exact same podium overlooking the Hill of Pride where my inauguration took place. However, the mood this time was far from cheerful. I looked at the people Solent below. They were gazing up at me with confusion and concern. My name was announced. I stepped forward as the cameras flashed. The crowd started clapping. My brothers and sisters. Clapping and cheerful faded at a deafening silence. As you have heard, yesterday Rumberg declared war on Sorland following their dastardly attack on our sovereignty in the past months. Unfortunately, the times for peace are coming to an end due to the aggressive actions of Rumberg. As Swedish citizens, we have all sworn an oath to this country, and we are prepared to defend it to our last breath. We have no choice but to take the next steps against this unwarranted war that they are instigating. Our people, our territories, our home is in grave danger due to the hostilities that are yet to come. I want to call on the international community to condemn this deliberate attempt to disrupt the world peace. I announce that Sorland is hereby declaring war on Rumberg. I have no doubt that we will emerge victorious from this senseless conflict. Amorgna Weskor, Vectern Sizda. The crowd started cheering. Soldiers and military staff stood up and saluted me at the same time. I raised my fist. I left the podium as the crowd roared even louder. Regardless of my bravado during my speech, I was worried about what the future would bring. I had to wait to find out. begun. Stark piece of soldier weaponry, a stark echo of conflict, weighs heavy with the tension of a nation at war. It serves as a grim reminder of the challenges stolen faces as the grit needed to navigate them. Hamburg's Navy terrorized Polish trade ships. Hamburg's Navy has been spotted patrolling the Markian Sea. Despite our numerous attempts to assert control over the area, we could not contend with a superior submarine fleet. Hundreds of Polish trade ships are bearing war supplies have consequently been sunk before they could enter the ports. Rumburg war crimes. In the places Rumburg soldiers managed to break our defense, there has been atrocious reports of war crimes. These reports outline death marches on the desolated civilian populations and mistreatments of prisoners. According to our field commander, they do not fight like a regular army. Reports of new chemical weapons have been sent over to Holstor. The war crimes will be reported to the international community for the whole world to see. Hospitals and schools bombed and destroyed. Rumburg bombing runs began yesterday night. They have leveled most of the urban areas, attacking hospitals and schools alike. There are many dead among the civilian populace. Local commanders report civilians and wounded children are inside their target areas. We are sending more anti-air systems to Estor to defend the city, but the local defenders are heavily damaged. Rumburg's first wave conclusion. After 3 hours of constant fighting, the momentum of the Rumburg army started to die down. As General Wagner was about to order an all-out assault to puncture Rumburg's defensive line at Grimsard, news of our eastern front's collapse in Agenland arrived. Rumburg's military pressure started to mount up again following the event. And as we are unable to send troops to support the eastern flank, the only option was to retreat all divisions back to Lakaven to avoid full encirclement by the enemy. No, must persuade. As 7 Rumburg launched their tactical bombers ready to bomb our trenches across the border. Our fighters attempted to limit their bombers' effectiveness. Dogfights occurred in the sky as bombs dropped across the battlefield for several hours straight. At 10, Rumburg initiated an all-out assault with their tank columns leading the attack. Our hold-down tanks managed to poorly hold the line, while our infantry fought in the trenches nearby supporting them. Our front lines request more supply. Our generals in the front lines are requesting more ammunition, grenades, and medical equipment on the front line. According to their reports, our troops are barely holding the line, and some of our soldiers can't even shoot back due to the lack of ammunition. Our artillery units have to fire selectively, which caused a big rift between our generals on where should our focus be. Unfortunately, we are straining our resources and won't have enough to support the entire front line. This is exactly the fucking 6-day war! Hamburg artillery targets destroyed. We stopped the continuous shelling of Narbel by Rumbergen artillery yesterday night. Artillery brigades have targeted their location and destroyed their heavy weaponry in a counter-artillery strike. The division will take the opportunity to attempt a breakthrough to create a pocket to trap the enemy tanks. Victor insists. Heavy fighting broke out as Rumbergen soldiers advanced on the defensive position in Uziren. We have lost 87 soldiers, 2 tanks, and 14 warplanes. Rumberg's attack has been thwarted, but the assaults are expected to continue. Behind the front line, a special operations team managed to sneak into enemy territory and demolish the enemy anti-air systems. They were spotted by the enemy and had airstrikes struck their position. The situation is expected to deteriorate. Sorland goes to war. President announces senseless war. Bitch! I was late. Should have used the pincer. I couldn't use the pincer. I have not founded the army, and I have not formed a professional army. I have kept conscription. I thought by keeping conscription I would have managed to maintain the border. I was not expecting the war to break out. I was not planning on it. Rain confirms rumors Swordfish War. We are in an unfortunate position. This is it, ladies and gents. Sometime later. Battle of Folsom. So it has come to this. I undid my tie slowly and rose from my seat in the protected bunker on the outskirts of Folsom. I increased the volume of the crackling radio. The enemy is advancing on us, requesting backup. We are surrounded from all sides. I repeat, we are surrounded. Why is not my people waging a fucking guerrilla warfare right now? They are using some kind of gas. Oh fuck yeah. Our soldiers' eyes and ears are bleeding. We need immediate assistance on Victory Avenue. Medics, we need more medics. They are approaching the Maroon Palace. We must protect the president at all costs. Squad 6 will initiate the final charge while we barricade the palace. Please tell my wife I love her. Richie Sorland. They are coming in through the outer gates. They killed everyone. We surrendered our weapons, but they won't stop shooting. If there is a God, I beg you, please end this. We are fighting the fucking IDF. If there is anyone listening right now, please. The world needs to know what is going on. This is no longer a war. This is a massacre. Squad 2 out. I turned the radio off and swallowed hard. Nobody knew I wasn't at the palace, except for Yosef. I managed to get my family here as well. What was left of it anyway. Right now, he was monitoring communications at the adjourning room. I walked in and he saluted. The enemy is preparing to breach the palace. It's only a matter of time before they realize you're not there. How long until they find us? That depends, sir. If your ex-secretary handed Romberg the palace schematics, they might know about the tunnel that leads here from the situation room. But even if they do, this room was built to withstand nuclear attacks. We should be safe here for the moment. The diversion at the palace should buy us some time. Of course, the question is how much time. We have lost contact with the squadrons protecting the outer perimeter of the palace. Your guess is as good as my own at this point. After thanking Joseph, I went back to the main room. Looked at Monica and Dina. Dina's face was streaked with tears. I will not even use the Super Mario voice anymore. Papa, are we going to die like Frank did? Monica started sobbing uncontrollably. But there were no tears. She ran out many days ago, when we received the news of Frank's death near the border. Dina, death is never the end, my dear daughter. It comes to all of us at one point in our lives. That's not the answer I was looking for. Don't know, Anton. Frank is gone and Solon's a wreck. How are we supposed to go on? We still have each other. We need to live for his sake. Dina went to Monica and hugged her. Despite our location many meters underground, I felt the room shaking. It must have been the bombs. Yosef came out of the communications room and pulled me aside. Sir, the palace is about to fall. And one of the Rumber combatants was overheard saying he'd located the tunnel entrance. So is this the end? Looks like it. They've got troops stationed in the woods above us. The only way to get out is through the palace, or not at all. If I were you, I would start saying my prayers, sir. Look around. Get comfortable. Because this room will be our grave. They only want me. I'm going to the palace. Are you mad? Do you want to run straight into the enemy's sights? I have my duty to this nation. You have shown me you are not a coward, Mr. President. It's one last battle for me then. His eyes started shining. Yes! I always want to go out to the bank anyway. He took off his jacket and walked over to the bunker's weapons cache, loading himself up with everything that was left. He turned to me and gave me his handgun. Anton, don't you fucking dare! I'm sorry, Monica. It's the only way to save you and Dina. You don't get to decide that. I love you. Joseph punched a code into the panel of the door and it slid open. As we left the bunker, it closed behind us with a final sounding thud. The small electric vehicle Joseph had used to get me here from the palace was still outside. We got in and drove down to the dark passageway for several minutes until we reached the secret entrance and situation room. Disembarked and cautiously approached the door. Voices could be heard on the other side. Joseph shouldered his machine gun. Wait here, Mr. President. Joseph flung open the door and in a flurry of gunfire easily dispatched a small group of soldiers outside. The two of us cautiously crept through the room, then up through the palace's winding halls and staircases, avoiding the footsteps. When we heard them, eventually we finally reached my office. Everything was the same as I had left it. I'll go check the perimeter, Mr. President. Be right back. I sat down in my chair. I ran my hands over my leather arm sets. I'd always felt comfortable sitting here. My mind went back to all the conversations I'd had in this chair, all the important decisions I'd made. I wondered which of them had led me to this miserable end. I opened the curtains and looked out the window. Black smoke was rising from downtown Holsworth. Buildings shook, groaned, and collapsed as bombs went off. From afar, I saw the bodies of people, civilians, strewn across roads and sidewalks. So this is what have become of Holsworth, Sorland. Poured myself a glass of Erlori Maroon 30-year-old. The taste was as exquisite as ever. I looked at the chair in front of my desk and remembered happier times with Peter. As my glass had finished it all, the door to my office flew open. It was Joseph. His shoulder was bleeding. He stumbled inside, collapsed on the couch, and took a huge slug of my whiskey. They are here, Mr. President. They are inside the palace. They are coming for you. I heard gunfire and more screams from the floor beneath us. Don't forget about that handgun I gave you. Of course, it's up to you if you want to use it. Mr. President, before I go, Joseph tightened his grip on his handgun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for failing our country. We thought we could hold on and fight off Rambo's first wave. Even with our best efforts, we failed. Joseph stared down at the floor, lost in regret. You can't do anything about that now. All we can do is make our last stand. I was interrupted by the sudden loud noise of gunfire in the hall outside. Well, that's my cue. Pointing to his belt, saw several grenades hanging from it. Out with a bang, right? Oh my god, Joseph turned to me. No matter what, it was an honor to serve you, sir. I saluted him and he saluted me back. Amor now a score. Victorn Sizda. Leon ran to the door and opened it. I heard the metallic sounds of the pins being removed from the grenades. Reggie Sorland! Gunshots rang out, and an ear-splitting explosion followed by silence. A good long minute passed, and I heard the faint sound of approaching footsteps. I redid my tie and looked at myself in the mirror before sitting down at my desk. I looked down at the gun Joseph had given me and shifted it from one hand to the other. The door burst open, and a soldier in Rambergian uniform stormed in, turned his rifle on me. I pointed the gun towards the soldier. "1958 Holsworth. You pointed your gun at the soldier, a young man, no more than Frank's age, unfairly asked to die for his country. Two more men burst in and started yelling at you to lower your weapon in broken Swordage. You pulled the trigger. The young soldier collapsed motionless, swearing his reinforcements in their rifles at you. You managed to kill another one in the melee. When the gunfire ended, you looked down on your body. Blood was everywhere. It looked like the other side of the room. Monica and Dina were yelling and reaching out to you. Soldiers grabbed their arms. Their screams were heartbreaking. As you were fading away, you told them it was all going to be okay. Said you were sorry for everything. Your voice only came out as a quiet whisper, yet you knew they had heard what you said. You started to feel so tired that you couldn't keep your eyes open. You tried to rest for just a moment. After taking a deep breath, you closed your eyes and saw Anton Rain was no more. Anton Rain, in office. Between 1954 and 1958, 2.2 million civilians have died in the war. 81% fewer maternal and infant deaths were recorded. 8,222 people died of criminal violence. 32,760 people were arrested for their suspected ties to Red Youth and Young Swords. 156,332 soldiers died during the Ramburg invasion. 3,390 people with Polish descent were jailed and 239 were killed. Investigations were launched on 48 businessmen. 614,470 women joined the workforce, and 805,380 girls were enrolled in secondary education for the first time. 1,340 companies declared bankruptcy. Private assets worth 10 billion Swedish ren were seized by the state. 1,143 news articles were altered. It is over. It is over. Okay, I think I think I need to have a few final thoughts about this game. Well, I was not intending for this end to happen. It seemed irony had other plans. It is unfortunate, dearly unfortunate how it ended. Shoreland is gone. Our economy is in shambles, our country is no more. It was not the ending I was hoping for. I was going by what I used to do in the past when it came to getting Ramberg from having from fighting a war with me. Hey, at least we never got nuked, huh? So people got to live, you know. And while I tried to follow the policies of Jamal Abdel Nasser, or I tried to take the positions he would have taken, I must say my failure in this game does not reflect failure of Nasserism or Arab socialism. Ultimately, the world of politics is complex and ever changing. And the real world does have some shit that happens. But the way the schemes treat you when it comes to things, I still full heartedly believe that investing into the economy was the right call. However, sadly, events in the game kept piling up. And I think it's part of the game trying to keep a form of a balanced narrative, keep you on your toes, keep the challenge up. I don't know. Like again, this does not disprove Arab socialism or Nasserism or whatever you want to call it. However, at least I went out as a man of the people. I supported the welfare of my country and refused to escape. I fought to the last breath for my people. And I believe between this ending and being assassinated during a rally, these two endings I take with pride. I take with pride. We faced a war of aggression. We were overwhelmed by an enemy bigger than ours, and we had our final stand. This is not the end of history. This war will not go unanswered. The Kingdom of Rumburg will pay sooner or later. The people of Sorland shall rise again. The wheel of history will turn once more. There is hope for the future. There's always hope for the future. And it's interesting that it ended on this note, the way it did. It's interesting seeing my own predicament as a person. What I've went through over the last year and a half, or rather last 2 years. What I went through over the last 2 years. Fear and anxiety and stress and worry, the horrors of war, and that well, I believe I wasn't affected as much as others, and I thank God for that. It still took its toll on me, as it took its toll on everybody involved. Involved in the fact that like civilians, soldiers, everybody. It took a toll on everybody, especially civilians, me included in the civilians. And I'm making like this distinction very, very clear because YouTube is weird about moderation lately. AI can pick up some things, analyze it wrong, give you some smack for it. I've talked long about the war before. I have its own stream. It's up on the channel. The first thing you see when you enter it, and and I don't know. It's the way the war in the game went, and the way the war went in real life for me, for my country. I find it interesting that it ended on this note. I don't know how to close this stream. I don't know how to end this. Trying to find words here. I'm trying to find words. We tried to help our people with whatever we could. It's a sad ending, but unfortunately, it is the ending we will have for this series. I didn't do too much safe scumming. I think I did like twice in this entire run. And again, this is the run we will have. I think the game screwed me over. I might have taken the wrong decisions when it comes to how the game functions. excuse me, and got acquainted with mechanics and new event with new mechanics and events. Excuse me again. That that I was not ready for. I was not anticipating. It is with a heavy heart that I end this series. It was an interesting run. And I think we did good. We did good for a while. If the game didn't fuck with us too much. And I did try and follow Nasser's positions as much as I could. So it's still technically a Nasserist run of Suzerain. Not the Nasserist run, but a Nasserist run. A failed one at that. But hey, if in the future anybody else wants to do such a run and succeed at it, well, good luck and good mood. Thank you all for watching and coming along with this series. It was a fun time. It filled up a lot of my evenings that could have spent doing other things, probably just wasting time doom scrolling, and it took a lot of energy from me. This game has took a lot of energy from me, and I think I'm going to be taking a break during the month of December. A break from streaming because number one, I'll be very busy. I have a very busy schedule this December between work and it's effectively two shifts. The first shift is at a law firm, and the second shift is being part of festivities in my country, helping around with festivities in my country. So it's like two shifts, and on top of that, I also have online sessions regarding how AI operates and its effect on society. It's very interesting course I've been going through. Very interesting one. So it's a pretty packed month for me. So I'm gonna take a break from streaming. Maybe stream every once in a while, uh, like a couple of times. Do a holiday special, but that's the extent of it. Tomorrow, hopefully, maybe there'll be one last stream for the month before I take my leave. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, the wonderful month of December. Take care.